So, welcome to this week's Street Talk segment. It was an alright week on Coronation Street, I thought. Nice little event episode in the middle with a wedding. Lots of Aadi, never going to complain too much about that. And even the Abi and Carl storyline dropped off towards the end of the week as well, which is always good. Gemma, I've got some clickbait headlines for the week from you first.
Yeah.
Yes, you ready for these? Thank you very much for them being sent in, as always, Jonathan. So I've just got three for you. Two from Manchester Evening News, one from the Express. Don't often get much Express in there. But
it's because we're publicising them.
Clearly. Manchester Evening News. Coronation Street fans make Abi and Carl Webster bet as affair exposer uncovered.
Everyone's betting that the person who's going to find out that affair is going to be someone.
Yes.
Who?
Someone's related to the story this article is talking about. Who could it be?
I literally forgotten everybody that exists.
Who is also...
Jack.
No.
Debbie.
Yes, Debbie.
Oh.
The affair exposure is going to be Debbie, but that's not the bet that these people made. So what are they also betting about the Carl?
Forget.
No. What are they also betting about the Abi and Carl affair?
That they will not do it anymore.
No. Okay, the bet was related to when the affair is going to be found out.
When.
And it was a very long time away, so I certainly hope that it's longer, it's sooner than this.
When Debbie and Ronnie get married.
No.
At
Christmas. There you go, you got it. Christmas. Can you think...
Bernie
can you
and
imagine...
Ronnie... But, sorry. What's her face?
What? Debbie and Ronnie.
Debbie and Ronnie are going to get married at
You've
Christmas.
got dementia. I do wonder when it is, because they're obviously going to want to, get a wriggle on with it a little bit, aren't they? So maybe that's not completely out of the question.
That's why I wanted her to get married. I wanted to get married on a horse.
But they said this week, didn't Debbie, after the proposal at Dev's wedding, she said that she wants to get married in some Scottish castle somewhere. Can you imagine
Calm
that?
Down, J.K. Rowling.
As much as we would all love this, that's clearly not going to happen. But it can't just be Bistro or flipping Chariot Square again, can it? I mean,
I imagine
how
she'll
much
say,
of a busman's holiday would it be to get wed at Chariot Square?
But if she gets to shout at Raphael during her wedding, I would definitely want to watch that.
What role would Raphael have? He'd be like the ring bearer or something. Like, Raphael, bring me the ring.
No, he'd just be in charge of serving drinks.
I think it would be... it seems just far too easy to have it there. And
Why would you not have it at your venue that you own?
Because what's the point of saving her money by doing it on the cheap at her own place? She can't take it with her, can she? I just think it would be totally naff if she had it there, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to...
Why are you saying it? You know that they're going to do it there.
She's like one of the more minted characters on the whole street, isn't she? I know Deb's pretty rich as well, but at least he had financial problems and reasons why he got married.
I thought you were saying at least he had a money tree, because he did.
He did have a money tree. What were you going to tell me? What?
Debbie, I don't know.
No, I would like them to try and push the boat out. Go to a fancy hall or something. I don't know. I can't.
Our hall's quite fancy sometimes. If I put flowers in it.
I don't know. I just don't.
And it's the perfect shape for parading down.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to fit many people down the side.
No, you only need to fit two abreast, and her dad's dead anyway, so she should just go by herself.
But also from the Manchester Evening News this week, Gemma, Coronation Street fans spot terrible mistake amid Bernie and Dev's wedding chaos.
They got married, and they shouldn't have done.
This is not the mistake, but that's definitely a talking point, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, look, I've seen more than a few people mentioning on online discourse this week that Dev and Bernie aren't actually technically married, are they? And nobody seems to be.
I hope they're going to go and file some paperwork, please.
It was this is one of the things I didn't really enjoy about Wednesday's episode. The fact that I don't want to sound too hypocritical, because one of my favourite weddings is Jenny's, when she got married to Johnny, and that was also in the hospital. But that was in simpler times when they weren't visiting the hospital every other episode. But at least they had Billy there conducting the ceremony.
But does it count?
Somewhat. Yeah, I think so.
Is it legitimate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure they could sign a register. But
Isn't there a chaplain in the hospital that could have done this?
Yeah, probably. But I wonder how long they're going to... Is it something that they said they like to have in their back pocket to say, like, oh, one of them's going to mention it? Or if they have a fallout, they can say, well, technically we never actually married. But I can't see why they would go to the trouble... Although I can't see why they wouldn't go to the trouble of actually making it legal, If they had
What's
this
the point?
sham ceremony conducted by her daughter in a hospital room, would they really forget, or would they really think, "Wow, that's married. We're married now, aren't we? We said our vows." Surely they're bright enough to realise that that's not enough.
If you want, you really should do the paperwork.
Yeah. So, does it bother you?
No, not at all.
Do you think that they will refer to it again, or are we just going to assume?
I think they'll just make out that they're married. What you are kind of overlooking a little bit is that I think there are only very few religions in this country that you're even allowed that have a legally binding religious ceremony anyway. And Dev, as a Hindu, will know that just having the ceremony doesn't mean that you're married. No,
but they did have a proper celebrant registrar, at the bistro, didn't they?
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is he's accustomed to the idea that the actual ceremony is not a legally binding thing. You have to do an additional process, which I am totally against. I think every religion should be legally binding. I think it's awful that then, like Muslims and Hindus and...
Oh, no, I think, the major recognised religions, maybe.
I think anyone can make up a religion and it's legally binding.
We're married now, or maybe that's what...
Why not? Literally, what? But why not? Sorry, but why not?
But even if you get married in a church, as we did, we still had to sign the register. We had to do the paperwork. And as it stands at the moment... It's
because you're a teacher, you just love registers.
Love them. As it stands at the moment, Bernie and Dev did not, as far as we know, sign any of that stuff. So they're not married. I think it was a bit... was it... Oh, Kirk and Beth, I think lots of people assumed were married. Because they had their 80s wedding, and then it turned out that Beth was a bigamist, so her and Kirk weren't actually married properly. I think lots of people, including us at the time, just assumed that after that they went off and had a little ceremony somewhere, or they signed some papers and got remarried again.
I think you should just be encouraged to I think everyone should be able to get... If you want to get married in this day and age, when people don't seem to want to, I think... It's a lovely thing to do, and you should just be allowed to put it on a bit. Like when you have a will, right? And you can just write it anywhere.
Yeah.
And then it's down to everyone else to worry about it.
Yeah, but you can't really just say that when you're alive, can you? You gotta stick with what you've done.
More weddings.
I think that it might come up again. I'd like it to, because it's a massive plot hole.
Wedding, I say marriage licences should be literally a licence for a set number of years. Just like your passport, it expires and you've got to re-up.
What if it was every 15 years, darling? Because that seems like quite a good number, really, doesn't
it? Call it a day.
What is that? What your choice would be?
I was thinking about all this. I'm totally off my game when it comes to weddings. Like, I didn't even realise you could get married outdoors, because I'm not interested. I need to get back in it.
Oh, the other one, speaking of that, we also had Daniel and Sinead, who got married in Victoria Gardens, didn't they? Well, it was. But then they had another proper wedding a year later, didn't they? Because they got married... Was it Kirk who...
It's just because...
married, in inverted commas, them there.
Wants double dipping all the time. Dirty buggers.
Yeah, maybe it is. I don't know.
Don't lick that and put it back in. Oh, you've done it. You've done it now.
But yeah, so when Daniel and Sinead got married, they got married a year again later, and maybe they're going to do this with us. Anyway, we've diverted quite a lot from the actual...
Did you know if you want to get married in hospital, you can, but it's only if the person is going to die.
Is that true as well?
A chaplain in an Anglican hospital, chaplain or other Anglican priest can marry a couple in a British hospital, but it requires specific circumstances and permissions. If a person is seriously ill and not expected to recover, they can expedite using a Registrar General's licence. But for Church of England weddings, you might even need the Archbishop of Canterbury to sign a special licence.
Serious. So what does that mean for Jenny and Johnny then?
You can only do it if the person cannot be moved to another... I would have thought...
So Rita's just about to shuffle off this mortal coil.
I don't know enough about this, but surely if there's a chapel in a hospital, you can kind of extend it to the whole hospital.
It's consecrated, isn't it? It's a special blessed place.
Isn't it?
I don't know. That's really funny. Anyway... We have diverted quite a lot from the point of this conversation starter, but it's all right. Part of the point of it is to generate discussion. There is another terrible mistake, according to the Manchester Evening News, that Coronation Street fans have spotted amidst the wedding chaos. So what?
No, you're talking about the Express one now.
No, Coronation Street fans spot terrible mistake. We didn't get there. You said it was to do with the fact that they're not really married, and I said no, it's not that.
that she forgot her middle name?
What?
I don't know.
No, apparently it was a fashion faux pas that people weren't a big fan of, and it wasn't the fact that she still had her price labels on the bottom of her shoes, did Bernie, which I very much enjoyed that moment.
Debbie crawling on the ground.
Debbie saved the day on Wednesday. Well, I mean, it didn't need saving, it wasn't that bad, but Debbie was by far the highlight of Wednesday's episode for me.
This is tricky though, because are you allowed to find that funny and charming and endearing and hilarious, or is it a symptom of her dementia and therefore you're laughing at somebody with a disability?
What's a symptom of dementia? That she spotted that Bernie hadn't taken the label off her shoes?
She's being impulsive, isn't it? That's part of the symptoms of dementia, is that you become impulsive and you act in outlandish ways.
Oh, she should just own it like Shona did.
Like a subsection of that is being sexually aggressive.
Yes.
And not coming on to people, like we had that letter.
Yeah.
So is it okay? Can I get permission from somebody?
Right, I'm going to tell you the fashion mistake that Manchester Evening News picked up from this week. Well, to say the fans picked up this week was apparently Debbie's outfit was horrible.
That's not a mistake. That's not a terrible mistake. I did think she looked like she was wearing pyjamas.
So I see, this is exactly what somebody online has said.
When I saw the photo.
I thought that she looked lovely though. Lovely little pink silky get-up. I thought, and her fascinator was outrageously Debbie. I loved everything about. I mean, the whole wedding fashion this week for me was a win across the board, didn't you think?
One of the biggest regrets of my life on this planet is that you can't wear matching silk top and trousers without it looking like pyjamas.
What did you think of I thought it was harsh, the fact that they were making a thing of Dev and Aadi's suits being cheap and
who on earth thought that those looked like cheap suits? They did not look like cheap suits. They were very nice colours and they looked great.
They were. I mean, when we saw the photos of the wedding, we were immediately like, "Oh, look at Dev and Aadi! They're wearing these turquoise numbers."
First of all, a first reaction was, of course, could they not have got everybody in the same room at the same time?
Oh yeah, the picture, which is the
amalgamation.
The press photo is an incredibly photoshopped amalgamation of people. But Dev and Aadi in their blue look genuinely wonderful. Everything about this wedding photo just kind of screams
that colour palette is of
lovely.
Those gorgeous sunset orange and the hot pink and the teals and turquoise and everything.
Oh, with Asher and Gemma. Yeah, their bridesmaid dresses were top.
Really
I've
beautiful.
actually seen lots of people complimenting Gemma's outfit this week, and some of them were saying, I don't usually say this about Gemma, but she looked pretty smart this week.
She didn't pick it, did she?
No, she didn't, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. A little, what is it, like leafy bottoms. Yeah, very, very nice
leafy
gradient.
Bottoms, yeah.
What did you think of the bride's dress?
I loved it. I thought she looked like somebody from ABBA.
She does look like she is, yes.
She looks like ABBA crossed with Isis, goddess of Egypt.
Oh, not that Isis.
Not Isis, the terrorist organisation. They're not really known for their fashion, Michael.
No. But yeah, everyone just looked fab.
Although I do have that coffee book, The Fashions of Isis.
I know.
Which I don't put out very often.
Mary was nice and colourful. Toya had one of her usual floral numbers on. I mean, most of the men looked relatively dull.
And I swear, is not Brody wearing this exact same polo shirt in every scene he's in? And also, Kit, does he not wear this blue suit all the time?
Yeah, I think he probably does, doesn't he?
But I like Debbie's outfit, and I tell you what is a crushing blow to me when I realised on Wednesday that this headpiece has actually just been made by the props department and you can't just buy it. Because
would you have done?
Yes.
Just to wear around the house.
It's like a woven headband with a spray of purple flowers coming out, but these roses are clips that she's added on herself.
Yeah. I loved it when she took off the flower and gave it to Roy.
Yeah, where's Roy in this picture?
Roy's not in this picture. He's obviously a bit camera shy like you. There are a few people at the wedding that didn't make the promo shot. But yeah, just the colour of it really was fab. And I thought
it was hilarious when Toya was trying to get brownie points for how much work she'd put into doing everything and using the colours and stuff for a Hindu wedding, and he goes, "I'm Sikh." And she nearly crapped herself.
that was
brilliant.
That was a great line. I thought, speaking of all the colour though, who was it? Was it Aadi who said, "Yeah, I've been Googling Hindu weddings, and it turns out that they're often very opulent affairs." What?
Clanged,
you know this.
That felt like it went in my head and it clanged from side to side.
So, anyway, it's like us saying, "Oh, I hear that you give Christmas presents when it comes to Christmas."
25th of December is a significant date in this country, and I'm going to find out why if it's the last thing I do.
Yeah, it was peculiar, considering I would imagine that the Alahans have been to more than their fair share of weddings.
At the very least, he would have seen pictures of his parents' wedding, because if not for the very fact that there was an arrest. Wouldn't he have seen pictures? His mum would have showed him.
I was a bit gutted that Dev didn't get to ride up on a horse to this wedding this
Someone's
time.
got to ride a horse
he didn't have
this
so
year.
far to go, did he?
That's my ambition for Coronation Street, a horse.
To get a horse in there.
Another horse.
Yeah, it was very nicely organised, the wedding. Just sort of as best as they could do for the meagre budget that ITV probably provided for it. I thought
love these
pleasant.
pom-pom edged fabrics.
We've just gone completely off keys today, haven't we? But it was, I thought, visually very, very nice, including Debbie's lovely satin number. So there to everybody.
Maybe if I
horrible.
Get married again, I'll get married with a Hindu colour palette.
When we do that vow renewal eventually. We will get onto the storylines soon, I promise.
Go on.
Final clickbait of the week. This is from the Express.
Okay.
And I've got an express delivery for you here. Coronation Street fans issue same complaint just minutes into wedding episode. What could the complaint be?
They don't like Coronation Street.
I've forgotten it again.
Forgotten it again.
Sorry, I did just pause it to go and find out, and then I realised that I've made a mistake, because Coronation Street fans spot terrible mistake amid Bernie and Deb's wedding chaos is actually not Debbie's fashion outfit. Debbie's fashion faux pas was Coronation Street fans issue same complaint just minutes into wedding episode.
It makes more sense that way, right?
So the terrible mistake is still not Bernie and Deb aren't actually married. It was something else.
That probably some member of the family didn't come, like Amber.
No, it's not, but that's a very good point that we mentioned earlier. What's another terrible mistake related to Bernie and Deb's wedding this week? You're not going to get it.
They didn't put cling film on the sandwiches.
No, it's just the fact that they're getting rid of Debbie Webster and they're giving her dementia, and people have said, Debbie Webster saved this episode. How can they possibly want to give her the boot from the programme? But she was great, wasn't she? Doing the singing and dancing. That Sue Devaney has got a cracking set of pipes on her, and to having her parading around the bistro singing "Hopelessly Devoted to You" was another classic moment from Wednesday's episode, I would say. And I concur that it is a terrible mistake that we're getting rid of her, but it's still not happening yet anyway. So
yep.
Oh, sorry, I thought
I'm just looking at my fingers.
I thought you were raising your hands in like a stop position, but you're just
have to do that if I want to say
your nails
anything.
out. Okay. Oh my gosh.
I'm leaving.
That was we got the window open today. That was a door slamming. Okay, right.
That's probably taking someone's ears out. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry if that has taken your ears out.
Right,
I'm not going to edit it now because we're talking about it now. 7 storylines this week. Starting off, of course, with the Till Dev Do Us Part 1, which was the lion's share of this week's episodes, I would say. Then we had the family affair, so Carl and Abi. We had I'm still trying to tossing around ideas for the Todd and Theo story at the moment. Or this week's terrible decision was Undertaker under the thumb, because it seems like Todd is
No.
Okay. Anyone? What are you doing with that calendar?
I'm looking at it because go on, I'm bored. Go on.
Kit's Kid is next. Lease purchase agreement, and now I haven't got a storyline title for Steve and Tracy, or neither the Jenny's storyline. That is what we're talking about this week. Gemma, would you like to do the Till Dev Do Us Part story? Why
can't you call it Leaky O-ring or something?
Gemma, you need to do the Till Dev Do Us Part story, because you said you were bored, so I'm going to give you something to do now. What happened with the Alahan clan this week?
Right. So on Monday, just to remind everybody, because this storyline was forgotten by everybody on Friday, pretty much, apart from Aadi, who's then changed his mind to being upset about everything in general, not just this specifically. But the whole point of the story is that they're trying to embezzle money off Auntie Rani to make a cheap wedding so that they could steal £6,000 off the budget and fill the black hole that Aadi has created by not having enough takings and taking out a loan and then having to repay the loan.
You're right. That didn't really get much of a mention at all
Literally,
today's episode,
it meant
did
nothing.
It?
By the end of Wednesday, it meant absolutely soddle, didn't it? That was a complete waste of time.
I don't think it
no
was. Surely
consequences at all.
It's got to come back again.
Normally in Corrie, right? Number one, I quibble with the idea that Dev cares about £6,000 or needs somebody to pay for his wedding for him. But normally, say he wasn't a different character, you would have thought that by Friday he would be walking around wringing his hands and crying, because not only has he got a £6,000 bill that Aadi's left him with for this loan, but he's also having to pay out all of this money on a wedding that he didn't expect to. Well, so he's not down £6,000, he's down whatever they actually did spend, which is, could have been £10,000-15,000.
The beginning of Friday's episode still ended with a difficult between Deb and Aadi, because Deb had a massive go at Aadi on Wednesday, hadn't he, for his part in it, and so they were not seeing eye to eye at the beginning of Friday. But then the whole drug spiking thing came up, and it was swiftly forgotten.
But tell you what annoyed me, on Wednesday, Dev found out what Aadi had done and he called him pathetic, and then on Friday, Aadi's crying and calling himself pathetic, and Dev's going, don't say that about yourself. Let me say it.
Yeah, true, actually, that's very true.
I thought it was really horrible when he said that. That was the sort of thing that would cut you up.
That's the sort
to hear your dad call you pathetic.
That's a bit. Everyone's just being horrible to the kids, aren't they? Because you had David calling Sam a weirdo last week, and now Dev's calling his own son a pathetic loser.
If you can't bully children, what's the point of having them? So anyway, Aadi is the best man, and he's trying to come up with ideas for this speech, but he's not really able to. Then the suits arrive, and they're a very lovely dark teal. But nobody's impressed, and Asha thinks this is funny, even though actually I think they're really lovely.
They were really proper smart.
They look so good in them as well.
And Deb is the sort of person that can carry that sort of colour. I mean, if Roy had turned up at his wedding wearing that, you'd raise an eyebrow.
No, you wouldn't. You'd say he doesn't understand colours.
But Dev, for sure, he's outrageously flamboyant. Exactly.
So Aadi and Dev don't really like their outfits, but they're trying to see the bright side, which is the colour. And Bernie apologises and said, look, I've got to buy them really cheap, and we're going to stag and hen do tonight, we're going to keep that cheap as well. Could you tell the difference? No, because they were in exactly the same place as everyone else's stag and hen do's, which is the Rovers and the Bistro.
Yep.
So they've stolen the idea of Chez's army men, except they don't dress up as them for the stag do. They have to all pose in the position of the soldier that they have and then take a shot or something. Yeah. It makes more sense when you're drunk.
I couldn't remember whether they did that whole thing with Chesney.
They did it once.
I remember that
they just dressed up.
Yeah, that was bizarre when Chesney's
it was very,
stag do guys dressed up as that.
Insensitive to Gary, who was going through PTSD because Quinny died.
Maybe.
If Quinny was green, he wouldn't have been blown up.
I didn't think it particularly... Yeah, maybe.
No, I think he would have been stuck out a bit more, actually.
I didn't think it particularly needed a theme because it wasn't too long before the pole dancer arrived.
Well, they couldn't be bothered with it.
Nothing else mattered.
They just did it once. So the pole dancer was actually hilarious because it was more pole fitness, wasn't it? Yeah. With everybody... the first time we see it is Steve. He's upside down, and I was like, "Who is that? I can't even see who that is."
I see. Everyone was saying how great Wednesdays was, but I honestly think that Monday, was a much stronger episode, much more fun. Just having all the celebrations in the Rovers and then the hens kind of migrating or flocking over to the Rovers because of Auntie Brownie being such a killjoy. I loved Monday's episode.
I know. I thought especially Shona was hilarious, and she's like, "Sorry, I've got a brain injury." Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to it. So hen do, like you said, it's going on at the bistro, but it's very uncomfortable because Rani. I thought they were actually being quite mean to her, even though she was a raging bitch. They definitely kind of bullied her a little bit because they didn't want her to be there, and they're all sitting there uncomfortable. Just let her say whatever horrible comments. Nobody would have let Blanche ruin their party, would they?
No, she wasn't. I still kind of insist, as I said last week on the podcast, that she isn't. She didn't seem to me. She didn't come across as being particularly mean-spirited and cold-hearted. She just kind of.
Well, no, she was being unnecessarily blunt about her opinion. Like we don't need to hear her opinion about how much I'm drinking at a hen do, Barney. So anyway, Gemma comes rushing in. First of all, we've already heard Bernie say that she's going to try and be on her best behaviour because she's trying to make a good impression for Rani, who's paying for everything. But Gemma doesn't get the memo. She comes in dressed as a naughty nurse because she thinks it's fancy dress for some reason. And
I think that was the original plan for it.
She realises and lets the balloon go off that she's holding in her hand, and it farts and lands on Rani's shoulder, which was brilliant. How did they do that? Explain that. That's all the stunt budget for the quarter.
Clever
gone
cutting.
for that. Mary stands up, makes an awkward speech, and then this is when Rani says, "I feel so sorry for you, Ashley. You've been brought up by this woman," which is unnecessary, Michael, isn't it?
It was Rani and Mary that the two that were left together in the end, wasn't it? When everyone else had gone to the Rovers.
Well, Glenda comes in and says she needs some change, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, they're having a brilliant time over there because they've got a pole dancer." And Bernie marches in there to confront them all and finds Steve hanging upside down. Then Dev has a go, and Bernie stays a bit longer because everyone's just having a brilliant time swinging around on the pole.
It seemed like the cast had a jolly good fun time filming that episode.
From what we know about how the studio is, I assumed this pole was of infinite length.
Yeah.
Because who was holding the top of that pole? How did they fix it? Because there's nothing to fix it to. There's no ceiling, is there?
There has been a few behind the scenes bits of it actually, but I don't know whether they
It was
crept
just a
up
bunch
as
of
high
burly
to the...
men on a scaffold
Well,
holding on
they just
to
have
the top.
Theo there.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, I'm scaffolder. I can hold up anything with my big manly arms.
It was great because when the pole dancer arrived, it was a twist, wasn't it? It was like I didn't expect it to end up being an exercise thing or just everybody having a fun time.
Oh,
I thought
pole
they were
dancing
actually.
is very exercising.
No, I know it
As
is.
we know.
I know. What do you mean, as we know?
Oh, my best friend is a champion pole
Oh,
dancer.
yes, she is, isn't she? A lovely friend. I won't name her. Yeah, I thought, they're going to have a stripper or something, but it wasn't in the slightest bit seedy, which is what I think I really appreciated about it.
It was
just
really
everybody
good fun. Everyone was
messing
laughing.
around.
Yeah.
And George there cavorting on it later.
It was
as
much
well.
nicer to have her help them interact with it rather than her performing. Because, that can get a bit grim.
Yeah, but it made a proper community fun sort of event where
And
everyone's having a lovely time. And
she was wearing a fitness outfit, wasn't she? She wasn't wearing like a sexy strippery outfit or anything.
Yeah. And this is exactly, I mean, like the karaoke nights and everything they've had recently in the Rovers, this is the sort of thing that people are enjoying seeing in there. So
yeah,
more pole dancing at the Rovers, please.
Yeah, why not?
Go on, Glenda.
So meanwhile, Mary is boring everyone's pants off, telling stories about her going to Goa and meeting an Indian prince and getting dysentery. And then Shona's like, "God, this is really boring, and you're a killjoy, Rani." And then she says, "I've got a brain injury, so it makes me say things like this." And then she leaves at some point. I don't know when.
Well, I think at that point she just ends up saying, "Yeah, I'm out of here."
She says, "I've got a dentist appointment. It's a really late one.
Yes,
see you later."
That's it.
Yeah.
Everyone
So
makes
only
their
Rani and
excuses.
Mary are left, and so Bernie starts pole dancing. Then George does, and when Rani finally makes it to the Rovers, she finds Gemma pole dancing around like a porn star.
She says,
Makes fun of her name, which is Gemini, and says that she pities her other children, which is rude. Did you know that Gemini, the Google search thing, is called Gemma in Asia?
Yes, I did know that.
When I found out they were calling their search computer Gemma, I nearly hit the roof. I was absolutely furious. And then I realised they were going to call it Gemini here, and I was like, you are lucky, because I'm fed up with them using women's names as computers. I'm sick of it.
Why?
Because it's women's names, and then you get made fun of. It's bad enough if you're called Karen already. How many names are there that you get made fun of if you're a bloke?
I don't think that... What?
No, it's not right.
No, I don't
It's like being a computer servant, isn't it? I don't like it. I'm glad they thought of it, called it Gemini.
Yeah.
And not just a common name.
Okay.
Like my name. So anyway, Bernie calls Rani a bitch. Dev tells her to leave and says...
Tells Rani to leave.
It's not about money, it's love. And she's like, right, fine, you're not getting my money. It's your funeral. And then George wakes up and goes, what did someone say funeral?
That was a really
It was all
fun,
a really great episode.
Fun line with George, because he's blotto, isn't he? Just leaning against someone's shoulder and having him sitting up and going, oh, did somebody say funeral? That was it. It was all great moments. Loved it.
Yes. So they all get home later. Dev's plastered, but Bernie's like, look, let's talk. Do you definitely want to go ahead with this wedding? And Dev's like, yeah, I love you exactly the way you are, no matter what Auntie Rani says. And he goes up to bed, and Aadi is terrified in the kitchen, and Bernie joins him, and she says, look, we're going to think of something. But there, he's not hopeful in the slightest, because at this moment, the £6,000 that they were going to get off Rani was going to save his bacon. But don't worry, because it doesn't matter at all.
Well, they're just further and further in debt now, aren't they?
But are they, though? Because it feels as though Dev can just pull £50 notes out of his arse.
I don't know whether he's as rich as he used to be.
But it doesn't matter, though, because they have done this on the cheap anyway.
Yeah, but
it never made any sense to me that this big fuss was made about £6,000. I think it just is more of an indication that that Aadi wasn't capable of taking charge, because Dev clearly hasn't told him what it's like, the ups and the downs. I don't know how he's managed to not understand business whatsoever, but to have a loss in business is not an unknown, especially when most of it's in stock. Like, he literally bought a pallet of brandy. That's where it went.
Well, I don't know.
He didn't lose the money, did he? He just made a few mistakes. There's no way that shop went down £6,000 because Aadi did something wrong. What happened? Nothing.
I don't know. We've been told.
They don't explain it, and then you're supposed to be invested in it, and then they make it the denouement of an episode, and then it doesn't mean anything, and they wonder why we don't get invested in any storylines, because it's anything to do with money on the show. It's just crackpot nonsense, because it doesn't mean anything.
I have faith in them that they'll bring it up again, because
it doesn't matter if they do. Even if they do, what does it matter? Are they going to lose the house? No.
Even this wedding must have still cost. Do you think they went up to the wire on it and it was like 19 grand because they had 25 to spend?
No way. There's no way you could have spent that much money on what? Inviting. I mean, I tell you what, I give them props for bringing more characters to this wedding than I've seen since COVID for any wedding. So good on them for that. But what, 30 people in the bistro, and they said that they did most of it for free.
I said, but
how much could that have possibly cost?
They can't have gone too cheap with it, because Rani would have noticed. Don't you remember? It was a week and a half or so ago where she'd said to Aadi, "Oh, I want to see your spreadsheet." Yeah, so she must have been paying some kind of attention to what he was spending there.
I think what we were both saying is the same thing. It doesn't make any sense, so don't worry about it.
Okay, whatever, fine. Yeah, what you were saying about the bistro being packed was very true, but maybe that's one of the reasons why they still do not like to show it in churches, because having 30 people in the bistro does make it look like a really packed venue, but having 30 people in a church is
no.
It's on the empty
I don't
side.
think it was 30 people, because the chairs were arranged as such that there were only two next to each other, and then there was the aisle. So
I think it was 3 on one side and 2 on the other side, but yeah, it wasn't.
That's not traditional number of seats for a row.
The bistro's only so wide, Gemma.
I know.
Right, so the wedding episode comes along then Wednesday.
Dev is polished, primed, and fully pimped. Those are your words. Very well done.
No, I didn't write that. This is part of the script.
Oh, okay. Well, whose script was it?
I can't remember. Was it Jonathan Harvey? Did he write this or not?
There were Dame. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, Daniel Rochefort, I think. Rockefeller. I think he did. I think they.
How do you get that job
with this one?
Right. So Rani's gone, not answering Dev's text. I was totally expecting her to turn up.
I really hope.
I'm so disappointed that she
Rani
was a flash in the pan.
Yeah, there's not particularly any reason for her to come back unless she comes back and says, "Oh, hang on a minute, I need my money back, please." But she just such a brilliant breath of fresh air for what, 2 episodes was it? Friday and Monday. But maybe she's the sort of character where if you kept her in for a bit longer, she'd kind of run out of steam, or they'd run out of things to have her do or say. But she was a real highlight for me.
She reminded me of
great.
Was it Mimi? Was the dog or the woman?
No, she was the woman. Phil with 2 L's mum. Yeah,
we need more bitchy old ladies.
Very occasionally, they'll bring these characters in, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what they'd be like with so and so. Like, if you imagine if Mimi had stayed, and if Evelyn was more of a regular, then having Mimi and Evelyn and Rani in the snug end of the Rovers,
oh my God,
that would be fantastic.
Unbeatable
but it
trio.
feels like you can't have more than one cantankerous old woman in the show at once.
Yeah.
It seems to be so obvious, and it seems to write itself that that's the sort of characters that people enjoy, but hey, what do I know?
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, loved her. And
I was going to say something then.
Be very happy to say her again.
So
no, we'll talk about it
later. So Auntie Rani is not answering the text, but Dev, he doesn't care. He's getting married. The woman he loves. He gives Aadi one of his grandfather's watches, and all of this is proving too much for Aadi's poor sensitive soul. So his guilt is just overwhelming.
I do wonder how much these days a young man of Aadi's age, and maybe I'm getting this wrong, would be that impressed with that sort of watch. Because I don't. Everyone just wants a smartwatch these days. Like if Dev had said, "Here's your granddad's Apple Watch," and he had a prototype.
It's a version 1. Like it doesn't work anymore.
How many people wear proper watches?
It's not to do with the fact it's a watch.
I know my Turkish barber has got a bit of shiny gold bling dripping off his wrist.
Right, number 1, not everybody cares about technology. And number 2, it's a symbol of his acceptance as a father.
Yeah.
And number 3, it's probably a very expensive watch.
Oh, maybe Aadi needs to I'll sell that to...
Don't forget that Aadi has been brought up by his dad to care about the status symbols and trappings of wealth and being a businessman. And part of how you communicate your success to other businesmen is watches and golf and cars.
You're very true on that. But it does make me wonder, I suppose there's no point now, but if Aadi had kept on to a secret for a bit longer, could he have sold the watch?
That would have devastated Dev.
Well, he wouldn't have found out, surely, until he did. But
got a completely accurate replica.
I'm surprised by the end of Wednesday's episode, Dev wasn't ripping the watch off of Aadi's wrist.
You're not allowed to know what time it is. If you want to know, ask me what time it is. Or ask Alexa.
If somebody were to give me a fancy gold watch, I'd be like, it's nice, but...
I know, it's like, I don't want this.
I can't get my texts on it, can I?
Don't want this. I can't sell it, can I?
Can't say no.
I don't want it, though.
No.
What a beautiful waste of time this is.
I do somewhere upstairs in the attic have one of my old my granddad's old pocket watches.
You've got a whole treasure chest of stuff up there from your... Yeah. Including a giant family Bible.
I think that when my dad gave me my granddad's pocket watch, he didn't expect me to carry it around in my top pocket, whipping it out, opening up the fronts every time I wanted to know what hour it was.
There's a pocket watch in our family. A granddad's pocket watch, great, this Victorian.
Does everybody's granddad have? Has everyone's granddad left them an old pocket watch? And is it going to be a similar in 50 years' time? People are going to be passing on their Apple Watches or Fitbits.
This is my grandma's Fitbit. It always did 10,000 steps, no matter how many you'd done in the day. It always said you did 10,000.
This is my great uncle's iPhone 3GS. It had internet on.
This is my great aunt's iPad with a crack down the middle of it. It doesn't work anymore.
It's not quite the same thing, is it? Really?
But... Well, we're just a disposable society, aren't we?
I'm trying to think
don't value anything.
What do me and you have at the moment? That were we to have grandchildren,
right?
What could we actually pass on that would be, this is an antique. This is
a hat that was once the same hat that was worn by Kate Middleton. You've got more than one of those, actually.
I don't think I've got anything.
We do. We've got a Lalique bowl.
A bowl?
And plate.
I don't think I've
got...
A what?
Lalique.
I don't know what that is. I don't think I've got anything.
That's what your great aunt Valerie left us.
Oh, well, good job I've got nobody to leave it to, really, anyway. Sorry.
Yeah, what treasures do we have?
I don't think I'll get anything.
This is why when we die, I want to have a mausoleum.
Even my wedding ring, once they pry that off my corpse.
Oh, you always moaning about your wedding ring.
No, I think it's lovely.
To buy that.
I know I did.
I've never heard the end of it.
No, it is my choice to get a slightly cheap wedding ring.
I've got a bunch of dead women's wedding rings. I'm the sole survivor of both sides of my family, as far as some people been disowned. I've got 4 dead women's rings out there. Who knows what they're worth?
I bought that fancy polo shirt from John Lewis a couple of years ago.
Yeah, from Gant.
Look, come on, let's get back on with this.
Oh, I've got a pair of Jimmy Choos.
There we go. It's all.
And I've got those Gucci shoes that I've never worn because they're too high.
Gucci belt though, have you?
No,
Still never got a Gucci belt.
I've got a Chanel brooch. Take that, grandchildren.
I literally can't think of anything. They can have a DS. Right, come on. Unless Auntie Rhonda's going to come and throw it down the river, that is.
Yeah, what a bitch. Right, so Aadi's got this grandfather's watch that we've all just discussed and crapped all over. Ashley goes to number 5 where Bernie and Gemma are getting ready. I like this because this was a classic, you know, one character goes and sees everyone getting ready. I like that. I like those scenes. Just like I like eating scenes at Christmas.
Yes.
You've got to have a getting ready scene when you're having a wedding.
But not everyone can come along to the wedding, can they? Because poor Aunt Chesney has to stay behind to look after the vomiting quads.
Don't worry, we won't miss them.
That did strike me. You know, you've got 2 reasons there, haven't you? One, they didn't want to take the quads along to the wedding because they were a bit picklish. And 2...
Picklish?
Yeah, they were being pickles. Yeah.
Being naughty?
Yeah, being a bit naughty, or there'd be too much sitting around for them. No, I'm saying, this is why they didn't want the quad actors. Okay. They didn't want to make
Are you accusing these professionals of being a bunch of pickles?
I remember what they were like at Gemma's wedding. Oh, blimey, we're not having that again.
No.
Or was it just a case that Sam Aston couldn't make it on the day that they were filming the wedding?
Tell you what,
or they didn't want him to spoil the photos.
I give props to the Winter Clan. They have provided the vast majority of the weddings in the past 2 years.
Yes, they have. That's true.
They're really good value for weddings. That lot.
I thought it was This is, you know, our. And we came to this opinion independently after watching Wednesday's episode, but we just felt that there was some bits that fell a bit off, didn't we?
It really did feel clanky
Chesney
sometimes.
Not going to the wedding felt a bit off to me. Even more... I don't know whether it would have felt less off if they hadn't shown him, because they had those couple of scenes of... And I quite enjoyed the scene of them watching the live stream and then one of the girls throwing up into the bucket. It was kind of fun, but it felt very separate and just
It did feel just a bit weird and disjointed some parts.
Like it wasn't needed.
I don't know why.
And there were a few lines that they said in the episode as well. Like I absolutely hated the line where the nurse says to... the Winter Allahan clan at the hospital later, have you got any other questions for me? And Jem was like, oh yeah, how'd you get your hair like that? Did you perm it, or is that a natural curl? And it totally fell flat, but I've seen other people thinking that was finding that line hilarious.
That was genuinely dreadful.
To me, it just felt like a dumb, that's the sort of thing that they'd have Kirk say if they couldn't be bothered to think of anything else.
Gemma's
sorry to the writers, you're a talented lot, but that one did not work on me.
Gemma's not supposed to be a brain-dead idiot. She's supposed to be an uncouth... ignorant.
Yeah, I just didn't believe that Gemma would pipe up and say that.
It wasn't funny anyway.
No.
I didn't like that line. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Oh, we had that little scene then of Bernie and Space Paul, didn't we? Yeah. Looking at his photo of his ashes being...
I do kind of like the way that
jettisoned.
Lots of people can say, oh, look up in heaven and go, oh, that's where he is. But Bernie's literally like, fired him up there myself. Brilliant.
That was a very touching, tender moment.
Yes, it was. I don't see why they couldn't have just said the quads were there and had him go, the quads are...
quite little, aren't they? Because
they're over there. They're over there. You can't see them because Kit's giant.
Exactly. You can hide anything behind him.
No, exactly. Right, so... Debbie and Ronnie are very excited about the wedding, and she takes a flower clip off of her headband and gives it to Roy on his lapel before they head off.
That was nice because she was like arm in arm with Roy and Ronnie, wasn't she?
Yeah,
she was down the middle.
She was going to be a sandwich filling. Oh, I love her so much. So everyone goes to the bistro. Dev tells Toya he's a Sikh. Toya and Nick are telling them that they've given him loads of free stuff as a wedding gift, and Dev doesn't really get why they're saying that he's poor and needs the help, but he doesn't follow it up. And this is what I mean. Like it felt weird because there was. Look, there's a bit of an elephant in the room as to where this is all going. But still, at this point, it doesn't feel like an inevitable conclusion to this predicament that it doesn't seem to be a predicament at all.
Well, the whole thing is very off and dodgy sounding, isn't it? Because literally less than 2 weeks ago, this ceremony wasn't even happening.
No, I know. It's a good
the
job
fact that they've been able
on.
to throw the whole thing together with a week and a half's notice is completely ludicrous.
Yeah, I know. And Toya's like, oh, I hope you're happy, Dev, because we've given you all this for free, and also we've had to cancel Wednesday's soup and sandwich afternoon, which is very popular. So yeah. David and Shona turn up, followed by Mary and Kit. He's hobbling around, which I mentioned this last week, that he was going to be on crutches.
Oh yes, this was the week of the crutching, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it just assuming, or did he mention it, that it was after his little
Why
stabby
would it not
incident
have been
with
that?
Mick?
He goes, ow. got stabbed.
He got stabbed in the stomach, didn't he?
Most people will get over it pretty quickly, Kit. I don't know why you're making such a fuss.
But this was actually Jacob Roberts, who was real life on crutches, wasn't it? I don't know how long
it's like the greatest consequences anyone's ever faced for being in hospital.
I think that they did a very good job of inserting it into the story, and I think it was quite lucky coincidence that he had happened to. This is why they're throwing everyone in hospital in case.
Was it lucky, or was it part of the design of the show that everyone's in hospital?
It's an inevitability that if you're going to write this many hospital scenes, then surely one of the actors is going to be
Kate Brooks is
admitted at some point.
I am just future proofing. Anyone needs their appendix out, I've got a cover story for you.
Yeah.
Thank me later, okay? No one appreciates how hard I work.
We can't afford to rewrite the scenes.
Plausible deniability for being on crutches. Anyone can break their legs, it's fine. I'm not worried about it anymore. She's fully lying in bed at night, waking up in the middle going, oh my god, what if somebody breaks their legs? Okay, right. Joseph, Bernie, Gemma and Asher all head down the street, and then Bernie realises that she's forgotten her pool necklace as she goes back to get it herself.
It's a little locket, wasn't it?
And she comes downstairs and a masked raider is going through the drawers.
It's the Bistro Ninjas there.
Oh no, it's just Brody.
Just Brody again. Yeah,
and this again meant nothing to anybody because he's going, yeah, I was going to run away with the girls and I needed money, and she's like, don't do that. And then that was it.
The whole thing with Brody. Did this cause her to have an asthma attack? No. Has there been any other consequences of it? Not really. I mean, we have got the story with Kit and Brody that I've just kind of separated out from this, where. And it's linked to the girls having their bruises.
I get things
I don't know. But...
I really get things have to happen, right? I know that you have to fill the time with stuff. But they never used to have to fill the time with, like, armed robberies.
Yeah.
It could literally have just been Brody standing there and looking sad, and then Bernie gets into a talk with him. It could have just been that. You don't need to have him going through the drawers. And then, what? Bernie just completely forgives him.
Yeah.
But she doesn't mind that he nearly robbed her future husband. I'd be really furious if somebody tried to steal your things.
I don't know. You? Bernie has been
no, but it's not her. No, but it's not her stuff.
Everything.
It's not her stuff. It's Dev's stuff. Like she would. You can hear it. I can hear her in my head going, "I'll give you the shirt off my back, Brody, but you can't take things off of Dev." You know.
Well, she didn't want to spoil the special day, did she?
Well, no. They just didn't want there to be a consequence for this very silly cliffhanger.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy that. All of the things that were kind of thrown in there to derail the wedding, including this asthma attack that Bernie had later on.
Spoiler.
It just felt like a little pointless to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So Gemma,
why didn't they just had a lovely ceremony?
Gemma's been dispatched to find out why Bernie's taken so long, and Dev's getting a bit annoyed. And so she comes in and Brody runs off. So Bernie and Gemma go to the bistro themselves. Meanwhile, Debbie's entertaining everybody who's waiting for the wedding, the bride, with her performance of Hopelessly Devoted to You, which ends in a proposal that Ronnie accepts and everyone's applauding. And then Bernie tells Debbie off for trying to upstage her, which I thought was quite funny. But she wasn't there, so, you know, she's just dinner in the show, isn't it? So Bernie tells Dev, I'll explain later about what's going on. Let's just get the ceremony started. And then this is when Kit calls Bernie mum.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
No, lots of people I saw online pointed out that they thought that was a very touching moment when Kit called Bernie mum. But I think that my lack of interest or compassion or anything for anything to do with Kit, it just kind of left me a bit cold. It wasn't, you know, when we had Gail's wedding to Jessie at Christmas and David called her mum, that's the moment that you've been waiting for, isn't it? That is, you know, I can't believe it, he's called her Gail all this time, and I don't know, just it didn't even register with me particularly. It felt like with shoehorning it in to try and make you say and fair play, it did make some viewers say it, but it didn't work on me. Because I'm cold-hearted. I'm going to just come out and say that even David saying mum to Gail didn't work on me that much because he said it about a million times now. He said it a few times, and I think
I know, but the first few times is, you know, those were the most impactful ones, and after a while you're just like, oh, is he going to call her mum now?
I thought that was sweet.
Anyway,
but it kind of writes itself, and this, it didn't do it for me.
Anyway. Brody shuffles in, says, sorry, I tried to steal everything. She says, don't worry about it. It literally doesn't mean anything to me. And there'll be no consequences for you whatsoever. And we'll just forget this ever happened. And then she goes down the aisle to some club music, which I did look up what it was, and I've forgotten what it was now.
Is it an actual proper famous song that everybody else knows?
Well, I did like her stuff because she like does the club music, didn't she?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Stay, feet, la trek, sash.
Oh, is that what your Shazam is telling you? Or was that what they were dancing to at the end? I don't know.
No, that wasn't it. That was Sandstorm. I know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe it must have been that then. I didn't even think, I wonder what she's going to walk down the aisle to. But,
Can I give
a good shout?
A huge round of applause to Jane Hazelgrove for managing to pull off walking 3 steps down the aisle to this song and making it look like she was actually going somewhere with it. Brilliant. She did a great job, didn't she? She was like,
with the limited space she had. Yeah.
Here I go. So that was nice. The ceremony starts. Chesney and the Puking Quads are watching on live stream, and then Bernie starts gasping and can't breathe and sort of collapses, and then Gemma calls an ambulance. Dev's cradling her head. Debbie's saying all her prices on the bottom of her shoes and starts crawling along.
That's great.
Ash is trying to give the ambulance people information about what's happened to Bernie.
What was your reaction to this at the time?
I told you at the very beginning of the episode when Dev gave Asher, I think this is right, but you haven't written any of this down. Dev gave Asher a bottle of expensive perfume that he bought in Delhi or somewhere. Yeah. And he gave it to Asher to give to Bernie, who put it on, right?
Right.
And then she wore it, and I was like, that's going to give her an asthma attack or something. She's going to be allergic to it or something. Oh, and then when she fell over, I was like, there you go. I told you that was going to happen. But it turned out to be the lilies. Yeah. Because we find out that Mary got a deal on some cheap flowers, and some of them were lilies. As though there's a category of lily, right, that's cheaper than normal lilies because it puts you in hospital. But they still sell them because you all want to make money somehow.
Is that why they don't let you take flowers into hospital anymore? If you're visiting a patient?
Some of those attack lilies. We're not coming in then. The idea that there is such a thing as a cheap flower that will give you an asthma attack is utterly ludicrous. I wonder if the original idea was the perfume was going to be the one that set them off, and they went, does this sound a bit like racist to say that it's an Indian perfume, so it's clearly dodgy?
I don't know. I'm kind of torn as to whether I'm glad that it was an asthma attack or an allergic reaction on what you.
But I mean, I did think that, so maybe I am the racist. Here.
Yeah, no, you're not.
Well, no, I'm making a joke. Like literally, when he said he got it, I was like, I know Dev, and I bet you bought that off a random bloke because I can tell you that India's not the only place you can buy dodgy perfume off a random bloke in a market.
When she started collapsing, I was like, oh, was she having a heart attack? And then I thought, I don't need this to be another medical storyline. I don't need, countless episodes in the next week and a half or 2 weeks of her being visited in hospital. I didn't know how the episode was going to end. And when she collapsed, I thought, oh, that's it for the ceremony then, more hospital scenes. But then on the other hand, I'm thinking, well, if it was just an asthma attack, if it was just nothing, what was the point of it? Because it just seemed to string out the episode. It was moments like that made me think, yeah, half an hour episodes might not be such a bad idea. Because I imagine if they could have, if this was a half an hour episode of Corrie, they could have skipped the whole of that, and they wouldn't have been any better. In fact, they would have been better because they would have been married by the celebrants and they'd have actually been legally spliced at the end, rather than what happened to the baby.
I thought it added to the weird disjointed feeling I got from watching it, that there's just a bit where they just go to the hospital and it felt so strung out and weirdly, drawn out.
Yeah.
Why did she go to... Why did we have this? I don't know.
You even had when Kit was waiting in the hospital waiting area, he was like, oh, I hate hospitals, me. It seems like I'm always coming to this. That was like proper fourth wall breaking there, wasn't it? Like,
well, yeah.
I said to you the other day that the previous time that Corrie had been in the hospital was the episode where Dev and Bernie agreed to get married today. Which normally, that'd be half a year apart from each other. But actually, no, it was about 10 days since they were last. It's just ridiculous. Like they have to shoehorn hospital into everything, and even weddings now.
I don't get it. It feels like I feel as though the NHS has got something on Kate Brooks.
Is that why they put into the script when Bernie was just like, I just really love the NHS?
Yeah, I
just
wrote
to
that
get them
down
off their backs.
because of how silly that line was. But I did really like it. But it was absolutely ridiculous.
I also saw some people online, I think this was in another clickbait article that I didn't use in the end, that people were saying that Jane Hazelgrove had previously been in, I don't know whether it was Casualty or one of those other ones, and it was a bit self-referential there.
She said, I'm a big fan of the NHS, so it just felt right.
Yeah.
When they decided to get married in the hospital, which you can't actually do.
Oh, I don't know.
This is like Meghan Markle all over again, saying she got married in a garden when you can't.
Well, I don't know.
Bernie and Meghan Markle very similar.
It was just just a bit of a waste of time, really. We all knew that Bernie wouldn't be on death's door. It's like they need to have these cliffhangers when it's the breaks, and they're like their go-to answer to what should the cliffhanger be? Oh, how about they fall over and they have some kind of medical incident? Yes, that'll do. But they'll be fine at the end of it, though. It's just pointless. It's utterly
No, what
pointless.
they do is they go, hang on a minute, we need something to end this scene. Let me just go hospital.
Nice prop work. Yeah,
and it's just a book, and every other page has got hospital, and every other page has got police.
Station. That's yeah, it didn't go down well.
I imagine, look, and I know we're being really mean here, but we're only doing it because it's funny, and we do love Corrie, so it's coming from a place of love.
It amuses us anyway.
But I imagine there was a bit where they're all in the room and they're going, what should we do? What should we do? What can we have? I tell you what, Bernie's been a wild child, okay? Why don't we have a bit where she gets arrested for bigamy because she's still married to somebody that she got together with when she was a hippie and she hasn't realised that she's not married. And then somebody went, we've done that about 5 times now. Can't do it again.
Is it just a case of running out of ideas, or they've done every single idea there is? I mean, we can sit here and criticise what they did, but can we think of a better...
But the thing is, my point about this is that it's not that they shouldn't ever do anything like this, but that they could do other things like character moments. It never used to need everyone to go to hospital every 5 minutes for the people to have a conversation about something.
Yeah.
They could have, I know they could have, the writers are good enough, the actors are good enough, they could have filled an hour of just a wedding and people talking. They should have kept Auntie Rani in it, and then she could have found out during that episode that she'd been cheated. Because as it was, she never found out that she was being cheated.
Auntie Rani deciding to come back and gate crash the wedding would have been a much more enjoyable development than what we actually got.
I guess that there's logistical reasons. I mean, there must be a big reason that none of us understand why they use the hospital scenes and the police scenes so much. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it makes complete sense. It's just very frustrating to be on the other end of it going, what are we doing here now again?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not Casualty. I don't watch Casualty. I watch Coronation Street.
My question is, how often do they try and fit some hospital and police station scenes in? And then it goes up to Kate or Ian or whoever, and they look at it and go, no, let's have something different, actually. We've had too many of these recently. How many hospital and police station scenes are on the cutting room floor?
How many do they get rejected? No, she's like, this is absolutely brilliant. I can't believe nobody's done a hospital and a wedding scene. I know, hang on, what's that? You have done one before quite recently. Look, shut up about that. But sadly, I've just looked on the rotor and it's already been used for another scene.
If Harry Hill's TV burp was still going on, they'd definitely have a Coronation Street hospital or police scene of the week, wouldn't they?
Yes. I missed that, man.
Sorry, we're being too...
Look, no, we're only saying what people are thinking.
Yeah, but we say the same thing every week.
I literally
we wouldn't say it every week if they didn't do it every week.
Do you think it's like a really tragic and sad reason? Like, where everyone was being mean to Debbie and it's like, she's got dementia, how dare you? There's some kind of really tragic and sad reason? Like, one of the cast of Coronation Street is actually getting chemo and that is a real hospital and they have to have their scenes in the hospital so that they can have chemo at the same time as being in the show.
I'd like to hear what their reason is for that. Just so I could say what rubbish.
No, I don't want to know the reason, because I in my head there's a really good one, and if I find out what it actually is, I'm going to be really mad. I think it's probably just they just spent a load of money and they can't do anything about it, and there's no way to get rid of it. That's literally
understand
what
that
I think.
with some of the police station, but the hospital sets aren't new, are they?
No, I know, but I just don't think they've got the budget to get rid of it. And I will say another thing too. When it was just the doctor's waiting room, that was fine. Nobody had a problem with them having scenes in the doctor's waiting room all the time, because the characters worked there and it made sense that they were there, and they didn't have to come up with some really elaborate reason why they were sick this week.
Because it was usually just a fairly low-key sickness as well, with it being at the medical centre,
it wasn't,
didn't it?
Yeah, but it wasn't even
somebody's
just...
collapsed and was on death's door again.
But Michael, it wasn't like, oh, we need to give a reason why Tracy's come in to see Gail at the doctor's surgery. We didn't even have that. We just had, here's a scene with Moira and Liz or something.
Yeah.
Because they're at work together. You don't need another reason. They have to be there.
Look, we're rehashing things that we've said a million times before, but like I said, we wouldn't need to if Corrie didn't just offer it us up on a plate every episode.
It's too easy.
Yeah.
Gail,
just Kit, go a week, Corrie, come on.
Kit is upset because he's been filed to Bernie and he's worried that she's going to die. But the nurse says, it was an asthma attack. But Bernie's like, I don't have asthma. And they're like, don't worry about it then. And then this is when Gemma asked the silly question about the nurse's hair. And she's like, oh, I actually meant questions about the patient. And we all had a hearty laugh. Most of the guests are still at the bistro, but celebrant's gone home. So Debbie says, let's all go to the pub. And Asha says, look, everybody, the family wants to go to the hospital, so you guys can all go.
No, Dev has summoned the family to the hospital, hasn't he? And they're wondering whether it's Bernie is about to...
Were we supposed to think that she was going to die? Because I know, there was... It didn't even look like any of the characters thought that.
Because we'd been already told that...
I know, but what was that could have been dramatic and interesting, but nobody was worried.
Again, people are going off to the hospital so often, you kind of run out of...
But do you see, this was another example of how it kind of fell a bit flat, because if I was at a wedding and the bride collapsed and stopped breathing in front of me and was going and then the daughter of the family went, we've been summoned to the hospital, I wouldn't be like, right, pint, does anyone want a pint, should we go to the pub? I'd be like, I wouldn't be able to sit down. I'd be so worried.
Yeah, nobody.
You wouldn't go to a wedding unless you knew them.
Yeah.
All the people in that room should be the people that care the most. But they were all like, nah. Tell you what, I wonder if Glenda's got any of them pickle pots going. Right. So turns out that they've been summoned for the wedding at the hospital. Dev does his vows. He reads them off, but Bernie decides to ditch hers and ad-libs a classic Corrie straight from the heart. Load of crap.
You just hate it all.
I don't hate
personal vowels.
No. It's just the cliche of, oh, I've written something down, but I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, I think I didn't like how they were reading. Well, definitely
it wasn't even
reading it off his phone. Is this what people do these days?
Yeah. Do you remember when Michelle was doing it?
I think that was a little bit different when Michelle was doing it. I just think cue cards looking a bit classier,
I think
don't they?
You need a scroll.
Or do it from memory.
Do it from a scroll.
Yeah.
With a big wax seal on it.
I think that it just comes across as insincere if you don't just memorise it.
This is why...
What it says on my sheet is, I'm going to love you for eternity.
I think you are the most... Oh, I thought that said something else. It says beautiful woman in the world. There's nothing you can say that hasn't said a million times before.
Yeah.
So.
And how many of them are written by ChatGPT these days anyway?
What's wrong with the classics? Right, anyway, they get married. Don't ask questions about it. They get home.
Is there this is a question I have actually. Is there a traditional secular vow? Because if you get married in a church, as we did, you just got your bog standard ones. But if you get married somewhere else... Can you use those Anglican ones? Or they're like, no, if you want to use those, you have to get married in a church, actually. So everybody has to come up with their own.
Maybe this is something we don't even realise.
Maybe it's not. Not that it's like us at all to criticise something without us having complete and utter
we just say whatever we want, don't we?
Of knowledge about the thing, yeah.
You can choose
Oh, okay.
There are you may say words of declaration and contracting.
You better not say it, Gemma, just in case we get married to some of our listeners, because apparently all you need to do is say vows to each other and then you're married in Coronation Street law anyway.
This is very strange.
Right, come on.
You've got to choose the same as your partner and you can't choose different words.
If you're choosing some of the official ones.
Yeah.
Well.
I tell you what though, they're not very dressy, these ones.
Come on, give me one of them.
I do solemnly... Well, I can't do it, can I? I can't get married now. I do solemnly declare that I know not of any lawful impediment why I name may not be joined in matrimony to name.
Well, there we go. It's not.
How boring.
It's surprisingly easy to stumble over your words when you're doing vows at the wedding, isn't it? Because I did tell Gemma when I was standing at the altar with her that with my bunny I will honour thee.
Yeah, and I've still never had one. Where's your bunny then?
Right, come on, let's go.
I'm going to give it a squeeze on its little cotton tail. Right, so when they get home, Bernie's wicky wacky wooed.
Yeah.
Which is also a really great way to marry somebody. I'll wicky wacky woo you. Dev sits next to Aadi, who tells him he's got something to tell him. So the next scene, we don't really hear him saying, do we?
No, we don't hear the confession.
The
we just Dev's reaction to it, which
because
is
probably,
horrible.
He was foul, to be honest.
I love Dev, but he was
very vile.
It's very serious what Aadi's done and the fact that he's kept it from him, blah, 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 blah. But again, it took down the tone of the wedding, which to me should be a joyous occasion, a lovely episode to watch, and just fill me with a warm, fuzzy feeling, which I was ready to get. I settled down to watch Curry on Wednesday, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a nice one, isn't it?" But it just ended up with Deb slating his son.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes when they cut these scenes of somebody telling them what they've done, did they cut it out because it just sounded so ridiculously convoluted and dumb that they just
it
thought
all
it wouldn't...
started
when
I overordered on some whiskey.
Have you seen all that brandy in the back of the
brandy
of the cupboard?
I've got a funny story about that.
Yeah.
No, we just
Dev says, look,
Dev's
you're pathetic, you're the definition of failure, shame on you, you brought shame on me, which are devastating, horrible words. Bernie comes down and she hears this and she tells the rest of the story about it, including how she was involved. And genuinely, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, this is the end then. They're not actually going to get married because it wasn't a real ceremony.
Yeah.
We're going to have months of them not liking each other. They might not ever end up back together again.
But they probably will. It's just...
No, not necessarily.
Well, it depends what
so it's like, this has ruined the whole day. Like, we were so happy when we realised that Dev and Bernie were getting married on our wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, so they're going to ruin a couple, my favourite couple, on my wedding anniversary. But then arguably, almost as bad that they just sorted it out at the end of the episode.
Yeah, and it was nice that they did, but I was again left thinking, what was the point of that then? Was it just to have another little cliffhanger at the end of the scene?
And I don't know how you've managed to not write down that it was the lilies that caused Bernie to have the... It's a good job I remembered.
Oh, I have written lilies here, look.
I know, but that doesn't mean anything.
Well...
So Bernie tells him what's going on, and he's gutted that he's been lied to, and I think this would have taken a lot more to get over than it did, right? Because you've been lied to, and you've been cheated and stolen from.
Well, he's either overreacted, or he's... I don't know. But
I mean, maybe he's just like, oh, it's just another one of them wacky Corrie storylines. I guess I don't really care. Like £6,000 to me doesn't mean nothing, does it? What is it? What's that? Another set of golf clubs I can't buy at Christmas? Who cares? So anyway, he ends up at the bistro with Toya, who's tidying up everything, and Bernie comes in between the tail.
Between the tail.
With the tail between her legs. So, and she says, no more lies or lilies.
Yeah, they just kind of make a bit of a joke out of it in the end.
And then at the end of it, they're having a rave.
Yeah.
But Dev and Bernie, and poor Toya's just still tidying up. Like, this is not convenient for me at all. Brody confronts Aadi in the street and warns him not to get in his face and goes, I know we're like relatives now, but stay as far away from me as possible. And I give Aadi props because he did not back down, but he also didn't really have anything spectacular to say back, did he?
No. Well, I mean, Aadi has been He's feeling pretty low by this point, isn't he? I don't think he had much fight left in him.
Aadi's in a spiral of self-loathing.
I don't think that Aadi could have
taken.
Don't think Aadi could have taken Brody in a fight.
No, but he could have got Dylan to beat him up.
Yeah, just wait there, Brody. I just need to go and get my neighbour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Dylan can beat Brody up, I think Aadi could take him.
No, Aadi's a lover, not a fighter.
That's true. On Friday, I thought this was really nice. Again, all has been forgiven and forgotten, apparently.
Yeah.
Because Dev has laid a beautiful breakfast out for Bernie, including some monster crackers or whatever they were. Monster puffs. You're the trashy cereal eater in the house, aren't you? You love that.
Love a bit of kids cereal.
Yeah, and so you take the butter and the croissant upstairs, as I recall.
Yes.
But he's also saying, I want to speak to Aadi and sort things out with him.
He thinks Aadi's still in bed at this point, doesn't he?
And I feel so sorry for Aadi, because this is like his worst nightmares all come true, where his dad's literally saying to his face, "You're pathetic and a failure." And he tried so hard, and it's like his personality.
He has tried really hard.
His personality is business boy, and he's failed.
He's wanted it to be this for years. I mean, bless him, he's barely been used. But the most that we've seen of Aadi is him just desperately trying to win his father's approval and show that he can be a business guru just as much as his dad can.
Yeah.
But actually being a bit useless at it.
Yeah.
So I totally get what he was saying later in the episode. I just wanted to get your approval. Or what did he say to Dev? Like, the only time you ever say you're proud of me is when it's going to reflect well on you.
That was really hard.
But I can tell, and I don't know whether I can't imagine any particular scenes where it happened, but I can really picture Dev saying, "Hey, look at my boy, he's a golfing pro."
It's true.
Just to impress the guys at the golf club.
I really think it's true.
Yeah.
So,
but he's not a bad dad.
No, I don't think he is.
It's just an unfortunate series of circumstances, and Aadi's just got a bit of a bit of self-confidence issues. Dev's overconfident, and it's all just mixed up together in something that's made Aadi feel absolutely horrible about himself. And I don't think it's Dev's fault.
So this is what I mean about it. It's very weird because the story's changed so quickly into something else.
But I think it fits the dynamics of the family very well, what's happened in the end here.
I just wish the money thing wasn't the big red herring, because at the end of the day it means nothing and nobody cared.
There's still time.
Well, whatever.
I thought it was funny that Dev and Bernie decided to go up for a bonk and a breakfast upstairs, knowing full well that thinking that Aadi was possibly asleep in the next room.
I think in Coronation Street there would be no children born if people were shy about
getting it on
in bedrooms adjacent to other people. I love Precious
Must be a heavy
Aadi.
Sleeper.
Precious Aadi was boozing with cans of pina colada cocktails, which is so preciously, perfectly Aadi. He's like, I want to get blooded, but beer is horrible.
You go, boy. You have whatever you like.
If you want to destroy your liver with something sweet and sticky, you do it, boy. So he's in Victoria Gardens, ignoring all these messages from Lauren, because again, this is all pent up with feeling bad about spiking her. Like, he's ruined everything in his life. So Lauren takes herself, because she can't get hold of Aadi, she takes herself round the house. And so Dev goes looking for him upstairs, thinking he's still in bed, comes down going, it's not even been in the bed. It's not been slept in. Tries ringing him, and he can't get through either. Meanwhile, Gary and Theo, who are,
he can't get through to him, but he does somehow magically find him in the precinct later, doesn't he? He just pops out from behind a van.
My son will either be getting a sundae from Sweet Enough,
yeah,
or a pina colada can from the pound shop. Right, so Gary...
Or a little toffee yum-yum from Rutland's.
Oh yeah, a lovely toffee yum-yum, or a comforting sausage roll. Gary and Theo find...
He knows how to spiral downwards, doesn't he, Aadi?
He's crying, he's saying, I hate myself, but this is too nice. God knows what's in this. Right, so Gary and Theo find an incredibly drunk Aadi leaning against Gary's van in the precinct. He falls over. No, he doesn't fall over. Theo's kind of getting him to move, and Aadi is belligerent, saying, "Oh, you didn't say please." This is like the second fight that nearly ended fatal over a van in that precinct in the last 3 months. He falls over, but I think Theo had a bit to do with pushing him.
He just kind of jostles
his
him
head
a little bit
on the wall.
But he's got very strong arms, and he can't control his force.
Oh, I don't know me on strength.
Yeah.
Dev jumps out of nowhere.
Literally, I don't know. It was just like for plot convenience that Dev happened to be
I tell you where
there.
he was. He was down at the pawn shop selling his granddad's other watch to try to get the money back.
He's not getting this one.
Yeah, so he's like, you pushed him over, and they have an argument, Theo and Dev, about why Aadi is collapsed. So Asher arrives as well. And
I thought that this was pretty harsh from Dev when he started accusing Theo, because he said, I saw you pushed him over. But I
thought he pushed him over.
I don't know. It did feel to me very much
Dev is
another one of these cliffhangers.
Dev is very overprotective, though. This is definitely a Dev move. So, Asher arrives, says Aadi should get checked out. Theo drives off. Aadi's crying, it's all his fault. Dev doesn't know what to do. So Aadi goes back home later, still looking pretty worse for wear. Lauren arrives and says, oh, I'm really sorry about about what happened to your head. And Aadi's like, it wasn't Theo's fault, it's mine, everything's my fault, I'm terrible. And Lauren says, oh, you hate yourself too much, I'm worried about you, I want to help you. He's trying to get another drink. She's telling him to stop. Then he tells her, that after a while, after a bit of to-in and fro-in, that it's his fault she got spiked. And once he's told her that, what actually happened, he then says, what do you think of me now? She can't believe it. She gets mad at him for lying to her all the time. Then he says, oh, I'll make it up to you. She doesn't believe him. Then she says, I know someone who used to say that to me. Joel.
I really hope whatever the future has in store for Aadi, I want him to just be able to walk around with his head held high.
I know. What's he got going for him?
He's at rock bottom at the moment. You know, even if for him rock bottom looks like pina colada in a can. But
That's a good night in for me.
He's never been really happy in his own skin, has he? He's always felt like, I mean, especially since his dad didn't rescue him from the exploding car incident a few years ago.
It all goes back to that.
I think, you know, his glory days were when he was winning golf trophies, and that was, 10, 15 years or so ago. And he's never quite met that high since. And I just love for something to happen for him to go, you know what, I feel good about myself. And I've found something else that I'm good at.
I found my calling. Yeah,
maybe corner shop working or anything entrepreneurial isn't really my thing.
No.
I've found I'm really good at X, Y, and Z, and I just really want to see him pleased with himself.
Thrive.
I love him.
Lauren ends up in the cafe, tells Asher and Nina what she's found out, and then discovers that Asher knew all along and is absolutely fuming about it. Amy walks in and overhears this, and Lauren realises that this has all happened because of Amy, and she's even more furious. Like, what am I, the flaming booby prize or something? How come it wasn't me that he was after?
I'm glad that Amy's and Aadi's relationship got a bit of a mention today, because it felt like it was just dropped after the party, but it doesn't feel like it's going to end up turning into anything in the end, is it?
No, it's not.
He's not going to take Amy off to India with him, I tell you that.
Amy goes to see Aadi, and he's still wallowing, wants to be by himself, and she says, is it true about the spiking? Why don't you talk to me about this? And he says, I thought you'd freak out about it, because you were spiked before, and also didn't want you to put me in the boot and drive me into the middle of nowhere like you didn't know those men before. And she's like, I don't know how this has happened, because we were getting on really great. And he's like, just leave me alone. I feel
bad for Amy. She's a really good friend.
Asher comes back, and Aadi's mad to her telling Amy. And she's like, look, she overheard me, and you should have told her from the beginning anyway. They start arguing, and then Dev and Bernie walk in on. And Aadi tells Dev, like, sorry, you remember I told you that I stole a bunch of money off you and then tried to embezzle money out of the wedding, and I ordered too much brandy, and I was not very good at, like, putting the right prices on things. Wow. Also, I spiked Lauren, who is the most tragic Coronation Street character going.
Dev's like, what? You gave her another excuse to cry, Aadi? That's the worst.
Dev's like,
worst of all.
Dev's like, Aadi, you fool! You could have sold those drugs and paid your money off. Right, so Dev, he's like, you leave. So then
he tells him to bugger off again.
Dev finds Aadi in the pub later, but before they get very far, Theo comes in and starts bad-mouthing him for calling the police. And Dev goes, it was me. And then he goes, ooh, doesn't he? Like, Dev goes, it's just me. And then he puts his hands up to his face like, ooh, what are you going to do now? And he issues, you come to me. And he stands up, and he's a bit taller than Theo. And tell you what, in real life, Jimmy Harkishan is very scary. I've never been that close to James Cartwright, but I'd be scared of Dev if he was standing.
I still think that Theo would have the edge on him in a fight.
I think Dev's got the cunning.
No.
Yeah, he's got the brains.
I think he'd just be kind of clowning.
No, I think Theo would go in like a windmill of fists, like ooh 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 ooh, and Dev would kind of like duck and a dive, and then like maybe clock him with his grandfather's watch or something.
I wouldn't say no to seeing a fight between Dev and Theo. That could be quite fun.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that Dev would come out on top there.
No, I think age before beauty. Theo backs down, so he's clearly intimidated.
Did you see the kind of the nasty stare he gave at the end of that
proper
scene?
Villain. He is a proper villain there.
I am going to get you, Dev.
He had this psychotic smile on his face.
Nobody stands up to me. Kind of look he gave.
Yeah.
Him. But he's starting to make his enemies, isn't he? James and now Dev and I can't remember who else.
Anyway, go back home. Aadi says, thanks, Dev, for backing me up with Theo. And they have a hug. And then Aadi starts to open up about the pressure and how it's been hard for him and trying to live up to Dev. And he says, it's not like you never praised me like you were saying earlier, but it was only when it made you look good. And Dev's like, look, son, don't worry. I've got a plan. I'm going to sort this out. I'm going to help you. I'm going to send you to India.
It's literally going to say, not my problem anymore.
Like, you cannot be in the same continent as me. Go to India with Uncle Vikram, please.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Go get a job in India. No, I don't want to do that. And Dev goes, I haven't got any choice. I've supported you as much as I can, but you need to go to India. It's like, look, Dev.
That was a very drastic measure there, Dev.
In this safe and secure world that you've created for your son in England, right? With all these safety rails and bumpers down the side of the bowling alley, he still managed to screw up so badly that he nearly got arrested. You're going to send him to India where he could get in even worse trouble in a country he doesn't understand or know.
Vikram's dodgy ass, hasn't he? I don't know whether he's changed in the last 25 years, but he was smuggling drugs the last time we saw him.
Vikram's going to be like, Aadi, do you know why we like poppies?
Yeah, I think you're right. It felt really like Dev was washing his hands of him. And I know what Aadi has done is pretty bad, but Dev has always been such a big-hearted fella.
I know.
That to have him say, well, the solution to this problem is clearly for you to bugger off to India and then I don't have to... It was tantamount to saying you're somebody else's problem now.
Yeah, I don't.
And you can't
given
just
up
say
parenting.
I'm not letting you have no as an answer. It really felt like no, I am going to put you in the next box and ship you off over there.
It did.
There's
feel
nothing you can say about it.
Like a really stereotypical Indian dad kind of thing, which is weird because I always thought that Dev rejected that kind of like really harsh, masculine, patriarchal kind of like he is a man's man, right? But he definitely is in touch with his feminine side. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
and like saying like I'm going to put my foot down and I'm the man of the household and you have to do what I say because I'm the dad. I'm going to send you to India. It just feels like the sort of thing that we had with like Imran and Thingy's dad and parents, like going, we're going to take you to Pakistan.
Rana's parents,
you know, there was this weird kind of sinister religious control element to it, and of course there's nothing like that with Dev, but it still feels a bit like that kind of really sinister, scary, authoritarian parenting style that we've never really seen Dev do much parenting because he always shipped it off to Mary.
Yeah. I don't know how much Aadi has been to India, and I know was it last year?
He didn't even know what a bloody Hindu
wedding was. He
was.
can't be that in touch with the culture there, otherwise he wouldn't have had to Google, Indian weddings, Hindu weddings. But we know he's been there for a bit. They went there for a few months. Was it last year or a couple of years ago they went off to India? Or maybe it was just before. Maybe it was longer ago. That was ages ago, the skin lightening then. It boggles my mind, the fact that even though you've got family there, I don't want to just
got family
there,
it's a foreign country.
Yeah.
And it's a scary place. It can be quite intimidating. And just because he's been there a few times and he's got his Uncle Vikram there, doesn't mean that he wants to go and live in India.
With Auntie Rani.
Auntie Rani breathing down his neck.
It's like, I'd say Aadi's got all his friends here, but I don't think he's got any, bless him. It was a bit of a it came out of nowhere sort of move from Dev, and I'd hope that he might back down from it.
Do you think it's the sort of thing that he would really say, or do you feel like it was an out of character, weird choice for Corey to have him say?
No, it felt a little bit plot contrivance, and again maybe a bit of Friday episode cliffhanger kind of material.
Yeah.
It definitely surprised me when he dropped that bombshell.
Yeah, that was a bit weird, but maybe, I don't know, maybe this would be what he would do. Because he's got a support network in India. Maybe that's his thought process. Like, you know, I can't keep an eye on you here. It's just me and Asha and Bernie. You know, she's got her own problems. In India, you've got Vikram and Umed and whoever fell down the stairs last week, and you know.
I would also be saying, what would Sunita say to this? And I can't imagine she'd be
send him to India.
Too impressed with the idea of Dev just washing his hands of their child.
At least it's not the Isle of Wight.
This is true. Well, so overall thoughts on it, again, just being a bit of a mixed bag. I always love an Alahan focused week because, you know, we don't get them very often. But yeah, there's some paths that the story took just didn't quite work for me. But anyway, let's move on to... Oh my
we've
gosh.
spoken too long now.
No, we haven't. It's fine.
And now we're talking about another load of nonsense.
Well, this story, the Carl and Abi story, it kind of... I don't think there were too many plot twists here. Mostly it's tantamount to Abi and Carl are carrying on bonking away at the hotel was what happened this week, wasn't it?
Right, let's move on to the next story then.
No, we must revisit it in full, thorough detail just to see if there's anything that we've missed.
And then, what position did they get into?
So...
They got one of them special packets of cards with all the different moves you can do. And they were going through the whole pack.
They can't like the Kama Sutra in playing card form.
Dirty. Disgusting.
I thought
those Germans.
I don't think they need any inspiration. I think Carl's been getting his inspiration from Sally and Tim because he was clearly dressed as the lucky burglar on Monday's episode, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was lucky burglar.
Did you see? Literally, if he put a black mask on him, he could have been the one that was robbing the corner shop the other day.
He was wearing a villain's outfit. But hilariously, I noticed that in his bedroom, which unfortunately we had to see inside of this week, he had another stripy black and white top on his... He had about 3 tops in total and another one of them.
He just likes that Breton fashion.
And he's like, sometimes I like the wide stripes, sometimes I like the thin stripes, okay? But either way, it's a lucky burglar kind of a day.
Right. Basically, at the beginning of the week, you got Jack saying, "Oh, I'm glad that you and Abi are back together, Dad, and everything's going great, guns."
Why did you say that, Jack?
I just wish that Carl would go away, says Kevin later. But Abby's like, "Look, don't sweat it. There's naught going on between me and her, Abi and him, honestly." And there almost wasn't. Oh yeah, this was odd. I don't know whether they ever got the answer to this, because we saw Tracy whisking Carl away from the pub on Monday, didn't we? She's there trying to get a drink out of him in the pub, and then when Kevin and Abi come in, and Abby's clearly jealous that Tracy's on the prowl and trying to get her claws into Carl, and then now that he's been rejected and he's been spurned by his secret lover Abi, he takes Tracy off to town, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's very weird.
But then the next scene that we see of them, Carl and Abi are in bed together. Did we miss what happened between Carl and Tracy? Was there any reference to that at all? I don't remember. Do you?
I don't remember.
I think it was supposed to be a surprise twist. Aha, you thought it was Tracy, but it was actually Abi. But it wasn't that much of a surprise, will we? Because we know what sort of a dog that Carl is at the moment, and what a disappointment Abi is as well. But anyway,
that's very progressive. Yes, women aren't slagged; they're disappointments.
She is very much a disappointment to me at the moment, Abigail. So Glenda is with Kevin later on, and she's asking him how his treatment's going. And he says, "Oh, actually, this is the pub, isn't it? Yeah." Because Abi says, "Well, it's worked actually. The chemo's over." So Glenda kind of happily announces this news to the pub, so everyone knows that everything's going great for Kevin at the moment. But it all becomes a bit too much.
Yeah, because they're all celebrating.
Yeah, Abi goes out for a bit of fresh air. Then Debbie comes
She
to
goes
speak.
out to vape, more like.
Probably. Debbie comes to number 13 later when Kevin's there, and he's like, "Oh, please look," because they weren't seeing eye to eye last
Well, she
week,
said
were
you've
they?
lost a sister.
Yeah.
She'd basically unfriended him.
Yeah, because he was lying about his cancer not being gone, and he says, "Look, please stay with me, talk to me. I think that I'm losing Abi." And he's very much is, because this is when they cut to the two of them in bed together, and there was an awful lot of flesh on display in that scene as well. Monday's episode was just a raunch fest, wasn't it? They weren't getting flaunting around naked in bed. They were climbing up the poles in their Rovers.
Absolutely disgusting.
Despicable. For before Watershed as
well.
well.
What is this? In the week of a wedding?
Yeah, we should have. There was no marital bed action there, was there? It was all just implied. That's how it should be.
Chaste kissing or anything. No, it's all naughtiness.
Well, Kevin's still opening up to his sister later on. He's like, I'm turning 60 next month. Don't know what have I got to show for it. I've not got anything. My life's falling apart." And Debbie's like, "I just don't understand why you thought that trying to get Abby's pity was the best option to keep her on your side. What you need to do is make a grand gesture so that she can see how lucky she is to have you." Quite often people will recommend grand gestures as a way to...
What would you do?
I don't know. What can you see me doing as a grand gesture?
Trying to cook me something and doing it badly.
Yeah, you're very... if you need to do a grand gesture to me, I mean, not that you ever do anything wrong and need to get my forgiveness for, of course.
Of course.
But I think that you would probably go down the lovely meal route, wouldn't you?
I'd cook you a nice meal, buy you a nice gift.
What would you buy?
Or take you out somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know what I'd do for you.
I'd buy you a life-size Princess Zelda.
Oh, you've obviously had a lot of thought into this. What am I going to find out that you've done that you need to apologise for?
Well, I've got it downstairs in case something comes up.
I think that if I had to do a grand gesture for you, I think that you would. I don't think you would just tell me I was being pathetic. I think it probably would be pathetic.
You would just go, "Oh, let's go out for a meal somewhere," and then you'd make me decide where to go, and I wouldn't be in the mood to go anywhere because I'd take my bra off and I'm not leaving the house now, and I'd get mad at you.
Yeah.
And then you'd say, "Well, let's just have a takeaway there," and I'd say, "What do you want?" And you'd say pizza, and I'd say, "No,
I want a curry.
I don't want a pizza. When I say takeaway, I don't mean pizza. I mean curry or Indian or Thai.
Maybe Chinese.
Or Chinese, yeah.
Yeah.
Curry or Indian.
I don't think you like
thing.
presents, but I don't really know.
You can't buy me anything.
What sort of present would make a good apology makeup gift for you?
Grandfather's watch.
Good job, I've got that pocket watch upstairs that I can whip out then.
There you go, I found this upstairs. Thanks.
Well, it's a good job that I never ever incur your wrath, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I never have to make up for anything.
No.
Anyway, we return to the raunchy hotel room.
What was the grand gesture then that Kevin gives?
He booked some on holiday, didn't he?
You could book me on holiday.
Oh yeah, that would work, wouldn't it?
It bloody would work, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I still think that you'd say, "No, you're just trying to make up with me. You like to..."
Yeah, but
when you're mad at me, you don't like to give up easily, do you?
Yeah, but you wouldn't plan it though, would you? I love you, but you'd make me plan it. Or
So
you do something like...
I think we should go on holiday. Come and tell me when you've got it all sorted.
Yeah, and you don't understand how much work it is. There's so much I do that you don't understand how much work it is.
What, like... Yeah, well, we did have a bit of a fallout earlier about me wanting something warmed up in the air fryer, and you didn't appreciate me asking you how to work it.
You can't do anything. You don't know how to do anything.
I can record a podcast. I'm going to get you to record and upload a podcast one of these weeks. Then you'll come begging for advice. So what do I do, Michael? How do I turn it into an MP3? I'll be like, "Oh, wow. Just Google it, why don't you?"
Shoes on the other foot now, you stupid cow.
Anyway, back in the sex hotel.
15 years.
This is what happens after 15 years.
It's been longer
we
than
love
that.
each other,
It's been
really.
longer. How long has it been?
Well, no,
20-something.
We've known each other. We've been going out for 24 years.
Oh, great.
Jolly long time. Nearly a quarter of a century.
I keep saying we should have had a kid right off the bat, and then they'd be gone. We don't have to worry about them anymore.
They'd be out of our lives. We would have sent them off to India by this point, wouldn't we?
Or to stage school, and they'd be earning good money.
They might be on Coronation Street.
Now, how about that, Michael?
Look, stop it. Back in the sex hotel, I keep trying to segue onto that, and I don't know how I'm getting there. But Abi is looking a tad regretful about it. And there's only so long that I can really buy Abi going, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Because I bet even in today's episode, when we didn't see them, it was just because what they were getting up to was so X-rated, they couldn't possibly show it on ITVX at 7 o'clock in the morning. Honestly, what is going through this woman's head? Either end it with Kevin, or do your best to stay away from the... Carl's just so horrible, isn't he?
That's what you say,
He's
yeah.
vile. He's creepy. He's slimy. Yeah. What is she saying to him? I just don't get it. I really don't get it at all. Anyway, she sees on Carl's phone a text from Fiona saying he needs to get cracking, and Abby's like, what's all that about then? And so then he comes clean to her about the MOTs. There's lots of confessing this week's Coronation Street, wasn't it? It was a proper confessional of a week.
You'll never believe what stupid storyline I've been up to when you didn't realise.
Well, people have been getting fake MOTs and they've been getting a bit of money on the side. Maybe Aadi needs to move into that.
He can do that
business now. Well, what's a corner shop equivalent of that? I don't know.
Selling gone-off biscuits.
Knockoff branded goods, which is what they
Vodka,
mostly sell
it's just water.
But
you sell it to underage children.
Right, he tells her about the MOTs.
About
Abby's fuming. It's like, all these lies. Somebody could have died in it as well. You brought Ollie onto the programme somehow. And he says, well, I think... Well, Ollie's all tied up in this, you know.
Who's Ollie?
Ollie, Dee Dee's new beau. He's had a fake
God,
MOT,
yeah, I'm sorry.
hasn't he?
I was like, he's dead.
Forgotten about him, not AI Ollie, no. Anyway, she says, oh my gosh, I didn't really enjoy this. She said that she comes home to Jack and Kevin, telling her that Debbie's booked them a trip to Mallorca, and she's like, "What? No way am I going on holiday with you." Did she know at this point that Kevin had found out about it? Oh no, she tells Carl about the MOTs, doesn't she? And he's like, Kevin, yeah, I already knew about
She
this.
tells Kevin Carl's been doing dodgy MOTs.
Yeah. And Kevin's like, yeah, I knew this already, that's why I sacked him. And so she's mad that he didn't tell her. She's like, out to Kevin.
If you had told me he was an evil criminal man, I wouldn't have slept with him. It's your fault.
We said no more secrets when we got married, Kevin. Anyway, I'm just going back to Chariot Square. Don't ask me why. So she walks past Debbie in the street and says, look, what do you think you're playing at? Debbie says to Abi, look, Kevin is absolutely terrified of losing you. And Abby's like, well, I still no excuse. You shouldn't have lied about the cancer. And Debbie's like, yeah. Because Debbie does a bit of a 180 on Kevin as well this week, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Blood's thicker than water, I guess. And Debbie says, look, everyone tells lies from time to time. It's just the way it is on the world.
Like, I don't really have dementia. It was all just a big joke. And now I'm in too deep.
I'm actually really tall.
I just walk around on my knees.
She says that Kevin is so much older than you. No wonder he's feeling insecure. I don't think we've got an age for Abi on Coronation Street still.
No, I mean, if Kevin's about to turn 60, and I don't think Abi is as old as Sally Carmen.
No.
Sally Carmen's a teen, has had her 50th birthday, so it's only 10 years. I think Abby's supposed to be mid-40s though.
I would say that for Abi, yeah.
And she definitely looks youthful, much more youthful than you would imagine.
Yes, she does.
Given that she's 50.
50 years old.
No, I love that, and it gives me hope for my future, because when I get to 49, I might crawl out of my chrysalis.
Exactly, like, you know, 8 years' time. There's still hope. Well, until you're 50.
Who knows?
So Debbie says, look, love changes. Sometimes it's really mundane, but maybe think about what you'd be giving up if Kevin wasn't there. Would you miss him? I think you would, wouldn't you?
I think she's making out like it's not just don't you love your life with Kevin? I think she's trying to say that, look, listen, you know, you're not on drugs, you got a home. Think about where you've been and what you've done. Which Kevin, really not a brilliant basis for marriage. Like, I'm only with you because I don't want to be homeless.
As possibly mismatched as Kevin and Abi are, he has been incredibly grounding for her, which is what she needs. She's saying,
sorry, when you said grounding, you meant boring, didn't you?
No, it's a bit of both.
A joke. Yes, exactly.
If he hadn't taken her under his wing and under his covers,
greasy little wing,
then she might be, you know, drugged up in a ditch somewhere. And I think she needs to remember that. She's got this lovely little son in Jack. She's got a stable home for Elfie.
Yeah, but you don't owe somebody, sex and love because you need a house. That's
No, but I think she should have tried a bit harder. Especially when he did have cancer and he was... I know that she was supposedly resisting Carl all that time, but I still think that in real life, she should have told Kevin, your brother's being a right sex pest towards me.
If only she'd literally, at the very beginning, when he first came on to her, she could have said, that's that sleazeball creep I told you guys about. He was having a go at me in the car park. She literally could have said that. Mm. But, where would we be with so much entertainment we'd have missed out on if she'd said that at the beginning?
Yeah. So anyway, Abi ends
Well, she says, let's do this holiday then.
Yeah, she says we'll do the holiday, but then she gets a text from Carl saying, can we talk?
No.
With our genitals. And
Gross.
So she turns up at his hotel room and says, well, why didn't you tell me that Kevin knew about the MOTs? And he's like, well, Kevin was blackmailing me at the time. So she's mad again. It's all these lies and secrets that are all coming out. She doesn't know what to do. She's like, I can't just leave Kevin, can I? I tell you what, I don't trust you one bit, Carl. And Carl says, well, let's just be each other's little secret, shall we? And because they're a dirty little pair, they end up this episode snogging and falling onto the bed together. Ew. Shocking. It's obscene. And that's what we get with them on Wednesday, isn't it? Abi wasn't actually sick, was she?
No.
She was just faking it.
But we did have that scene with, and I remember this very clearly, with Rana and Kate.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. We were watching
Rana had a really bad cold and Kate kept snogging her, and I kept thinking, you're suffocating this woman because she can't breathe out of her nose, and you're occupying her mouth. And it's also making me feel a bit grim, imagining how snotty and headachy and gross it would be.
I want to know...
to have somebody rolling all over you when you're trying to get better. Ugh.
How much was spent per guest for Dev's wedding? Because Chesney didn't go along to it. The Quads didn't go along to it. Abi didn't go along to it. That's a lot of wedding money down the drain
and
there,
probably,
isn't it?
In order to pad out this wedding... Probably Bernie already said a bunch of people were invited and didn't come.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, basically, the Wednesday's episode is that Abby's pretending that she's got a cold, but she's not really. She turns up at Carl's room in the hotel, and they start getting it on again. But when Kevin comes back from the wedding, Abi has thought ahead and said, "Oh, I've just gone to the chemist. Here's a packet of paracetamols or whatever she's got to prove that I'm right."
What are you talking about? She came home after Kevin, and when he said, "Where have you been? And why are you wearing makeup?" She said, "Oh, I thought I'd go get some medicine and then join you at the wedding, but it looks like I don't have to now." And then she took the bin out, and Carl was just in the ginnel,
lurking in
the
ginnel.
I assume he's picking up dog poo or something.
Why do you assume that?
Because why else would you be just loitering in a ginnel?
Well, maybe he's hoping to get a piece in the outdoor carsy or something.
Maybe
Kevin's probably going a bit deaf in his old age.
Maybe he is going through everyone's bins because he still owes £50,000.
I see. I wouldn't do that in the burglar outfit. You're just asking for trouble, aren't you?
Yeah, you look like a sim.
Anyway, this story is every time that Abby's saying, "Look, I think we need to stop," I think, okay, maybe that's where they're going with it, and they're gonna just have her trying to keep it under wraps. I mean, it's clearly going to come out at some point, but I have got absolutely zero interest in this turning into a long-term affair.
Okay.
Really, really do. Especially if all the scenes are just them turning up in the hotel room.
I'll cancel it then, because I've got a whole thing planned out.
Gemma, you got the, talking of seedy storylines, you got the Theo and Todd one to synopsise for us here.
Well, seedy because Theo's a horrible jerk.
Yes. Well, they're just constantly wanting to bonk, aren't they, those two?
Tell you what, Corey has got super randy in the last month, hasn't it?
They have. They're literally, all that Todd and Theo seem to be doing at the moment is coming home from something and saying, "Oh, should we go upstairs?"
Dear me. Mucky. Right, so Monday, Todd and Theo are pleased to hear that Dee Dee's flat is on the market because her cockamamie idea to move in with the Baileys and they all raise a baby together, like they've only just watched Three Men and a Baby or something, has meant that her flat is up for grabs. George isn't happy that Todd is thinking of moving out because he doesn't want to be left there with just Mary, but maybe as a grown man he could just get his own place. But they all agree to go to the stag do.
Maybe Jenny's going to be moving in there before long.
Maybe. They all agree to go to the stag do and Todd has fun on the pole, but Theo looks like he's got the hump. And But when they go back again,
Turns
he's
out he
like,
just wants to hump.
No, I think he was jealous of Todd showing off for other people. That's what I think it was. So on Wednesday, they're about to do another bonking session when Summer spoils things by coming home to do some reading in the house. And
how much uni work do you actually have to do over the summer holidays?
You have to read a lot of books. If you're doing English, you do.
Okay.
I assume she's doing something useless like English. Right. So Todd counsels Summer about.
Then again, I would say, what's Evelyn up to at the moment? Like, is she still studying over the summer holidays as well?
Oh, there's a lot of laws, isn't there?
She started the course halfway through the year, so she's got to catch up over August.
Todd counsels Summer about how she should stop avoiding Nina and go to the wedding. So I guess she does. Todd and Theo end up at the cafe, and then Todd hurries to work. Theo's not happy about it, and then Todd and Summer are going to have pizza together, leaves Theo feeling left out, and he makes a big deal about not wanting their pizza, and he wants to go to the pub by himself. Then on Friday, they come back from a jog, and they're about to have a sexy shower when George comes in, doing a bunch of puns about eggs being cooked in the air fryer.
Obviously, I loved that. But then when Todd says that, puns are the lowest form of wit, it's like, well, screw you, Todd.
Todd,
I think they're great.
You've just gone down in Michael's estimation.
Really
used
have.
to be his favourite character. I've done eggs in an air fryer once, but it's too scary.
I know, what was that all about? So if you fry an egg, it turns out
it's not
boiled.
frying it, is it? It's a convection oven, and so the air circulates at a vast pace, so it cooks more evenly. So you can, because all it is just heating it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can put them in the oven, in the air fryer, and make a boiled egg. And do you know what? Right, here's a question for you.
I thought you were going to give a culinary tip for our listeners there.
Not English, not British, or
yeah,
from these beautiful isles in which we inhabit. Do you know what a dippy egg is? Because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was 3 Americans, and one of them was like talking about a dippy egg as though it was some amazing invention that only he knew about, and the other 2 had no clue what he was saying. Like, he said, you get a boiled egg, and he's going, I've got a thing, I can even cut the top of it off, and you put toast in it, and it's brilliant. Like, this is eggs and soldiers.
Anywhere else?
Like, we call that dippy eggs or eggs and soldiers here.
I would never call it dippy egg. But how else do you eat a boiled egg if you don't chop off the top and dip toast strips in it?
I don't think they do that. Eat a boiled egg, because we have egg cups, and I think they think that's weird.
It's quite quaint, isn't it?
I've got right into having them recently, haven't I?
Anyway, Theo doesn't get to.
Theo knows that you can do this in the air fryer, and they talk about it. But also,
Theo gets a bit miffed because he doesn't get to dip his soldier in Todd's egg, because George comes along and spoils the mood somewhat.
Right.
Sorry.
Theo is upset because he's got this meeting with CAFCAS, which is, Michael?
Oh, Child and Family Court Assisting Service. I don't remember.
It's a separate entity to...
It's an entity that you would work with if you're trying to figure out who gets the kids, I guess.
It's a court-appointed... advice service, Children and Family Court Advisory and Support Service.
There we go.
It's like an independent branch from social services that works for things like this. So he's got to have a meeting with them later on, but he ends up buggering around with Gary in the precinct beating Aadi up when the social worker turns up.
I like how you're just spreading that narrative that he did beat Aadi up, because you go down to Weatherfield police station, you'll be right, Swain, let me tell you what
I was an eyewitness.
I
was an eyewitness.
Theo definitely beat Aadi to a pulp, lock him up.
Right, so he gets a phone call that this person has turned up early. So Gary offers to give him a lift, and he gets right home, and Jess is there, because Jess is now the only uniformed officer on the force. And with Swain off because she's having counselling, and with Kit hobbling around, she's got to do all the work. So she goes and talks to Theo about this incident of him pushing Aadi around, and Billy watches as he gets driven off in a police car. He goes to number 11, tells Todd what he's seen, doesn't realise the man on the sofa is the CAFCAS man, who says, I've got to go, and I'm also going to have to write this down because this incident, as well as the other one, will probably affect things with Molly and Miles. And we're like, what?
Million Miles.
Molly and Millie.
Children, Million Miles.
What's Miles short for? Just
It's
Miles.
not short for anything, is
What's
it?
Millie short? Millicent.
Yeah, it's like a little bit unoriginal,
I don't mind
isn't
that.
it?
No, I think that's cute.
Is Billy...
What's his surname?
Silverton.
That's a nice name.
Billy seems to be setting himself up to be the Alia in this storyline, isn't he? He's
Billy
seeing things.
Billy's being the Sarah, Louise. Because remember when Sarah was in everyone's business?
Yeah.
Beginning of the year. Billy's just like, don't have anything going on.
There's clearly going to be... This is 99% going down a horrible controlling Theo storyline, isn't it now?
And
Billy
gonna
knows,
know.
he's spotting things.
Billy will say, and Todd will be like, no, you're just jealous.
Yeah.
You just want me back. And then Theo will be like, yeah.
I think that Billy's going to be doing a little bit of snooping, a little bit of digging.
Well, Theo's already realised that he's dangerous, which is why he keeps saying to Todd, don't like that guy, don't talk to him anymore.
Yeah.
Stop letting him...
Maybe Billy's going to work with Noah to say, can you just try converting him back to being straight again, please, so that he will back off Todd.
Stop abusing my friend. So Todd and Billy Google Theo, which might have been a good place to start, but I don't know. I've never made a new friend since Google was invented, so I don't Google anybody. Do you ever Google anyone you know?
No, not really.
I literally never even think of it.
I wonder whether that is kind of a thing that you do when you start dating somebody.
I bet it is.
Is it just a standard move? I'm just going to Google them just to see.
I was reading something on Reddit the other day about somebody who had this work friend, and they just were always in cars together or whatever. And then eventually, like a few months into knowing this guy, he goes, "You've probably Googled me and found out about the murders."
What?
And the guy's like, "No." Oh God. So maybe I should start Googling people. Right, so they Google him, find out that he was involved in a violent altercation involving his wife and another man. So, red flags. They leap up when Theo comes back and they pretend that they were doing something else, but they're acting really shifty, and Todd reluctantly shows him what they found, and Theo's not happy about this at all.
What's the name of the person that Swain and Carla were Googling last week?
Tia Maria.
Theo
Swilder,
Warder, something, wasn't it? Yeah. Obviously, Theo's a lot more notorious than Theo Warder is.
Yeah.
Because he's right up there. He's been beating people up in restaurants.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Which is not a nice place to beat people up because you're trying to enjoy.
He threw a glass at a wall.
Well, he tells them, this is the story. Danielle thought someone pushed in front of him, so I got mad and I threw a glass at the wall. But I was angry and sad because I was living a lie. So
his pent-up
it's because
frustration
I was closeted,
made him throw a glass at a wall.
And I can't help myself, which is nonsense.
We've seen...
So Todd's like, oh, but he was sad before, and now I've healed him with my magic love.
We've seen enough with our own eyes instances of where Theo can get angry and violent, can't we?
Well, imagine
punching his son 1 week and...
He pushed through this glass at this guy. He had that psychotic smile on his face. What a weirdo.
And he's threatened Todd with violence,
he's beat him up at least
He's threatened James with violence.
Yeah, and Billy and Dev.
Yeah, so the fact that he's saying, well, it was literally nothing, and Todd's very quick to say, oh, that's all right then. I think it's just kind of wishful thinking there on Todd's part. But he needs to put two and two together and realise. What would
Danielle say happened?
Well, yes, exactly. I want Billy to go to speak to Danielle and say, do you recall an incident in a restaurant? Although I don't know how much this Google article actually said about it. What are you looking up?
There's a law that you can... Claire's law. You can find out information about your current or ex-partner because you're worried they may have a history of abuse.
Yeah, because they talked about Claire's law and the Jeff and Yasmin storyline, didn't they? Yeah, Alia was going on about it.
So Todd could go and ask the police, can you tell me about what happened with him?
Oh, okay. Can you just stride up and say
I don't know if they would allow him to find out the information about this because it's not linked to abuse. But you could certainly try, at the very least, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But he doesn't have any reason to not believe him at the moment, although he looks a bit conflicted.
He does. He's really desperately... I think he's trying to suppress these little niggles, because you see some... he's giving these looks sometimes that he's a bit worried, isn't he?
Yeah. So after this altercation that they had with Dev, Gary comes in and tells Theo, look, I've sorted it out with the police. Todd sees Billy and tells him that the earlier thing with Theo is nothing, don't worry about it. Then Theo goes to Billy at the bar and checks they're all right. And he's like, oh, you know, I'm worried you're going to find out about all my other skeletons that I've got. And then when Billy walks off, he gives this look like, but there are skeletons.
Yeah, I wonder whether he has done more. Whether
If
he was to search the dark web, would we find some more of Theo's misdemeanours?
The question is, has he done more but not been caught?
Has he done more under a fake name?
I don't know.
Like our dear friend Rowan Cunliffe last year, aka Luke Salter.
And, well remembered.
I know, I was quite pleased that one just came to my mind.
Does Danielle, has she got a long history of abuse that she'd never reported because she didn't want to drop a minute or break the kids up?
I don't know whether Danielle strikes me as a sort of person that would, I know you can never say this kind of thing, like, would she have put up with it?
Dangerous.
No, I know. But I said, okay, let's put it another way then. Now that they have broken up and she's just
vengeful.
But yeah, why isn't she going to Todd and saying, look, he's a really violent guy, or bringing up all those times when you beat me up? You'd have thought that'd be easy, low-hanging fruit to get out.
You would probably get around that, and her not doing that, by saying that she doesn't think that anyone would believe her because she's got motivation to lie now, hasn't she?
I want to know whether Theo's had anything to do with Shanice, because those bruises on her arm.
Oh yeah, beat up
not
children.
a bit in Joni, right? Maybe. I'm yeah.
Speaking of,
what?
Are we moving on?
Oh yeah, we can do. Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
No, I don't remember. Yeah, so we
don't like Theo.
We don't like Theo. Glad he's being villainous. I hope it's not too long before he proper snaps. Like, now we know that he's on the dark path and he's a villain.
But of course we don't want anyone to be hurt.
I want something to happen that's quite like, oh my gosh, shocking. But I guess we got to just wait a little bit longer for that. Right, so the stuff with Shanice and Joni, that was just kind of Monday's episode. And we as I say, we discover that Shanice has got a bad arm. She's got a massive bruise underneath there, which Sally uncovers after she stops the girls from fighting again. And Sally and Tim are saying, look, what do we do? Is this Joni that does this? Did she learn it off her parents that were always, knocking 7 bells out of each other? This could be a chance for us to get this parenting thing right, though. So she tells Brody about the bruises later, does Sally. And Shanice apparently says she got them at school, but they don't believe her. And Brody says, I've never seen them fighting, but he has, hasn't he? He broke them up last week.
This prompts him to then go rummaging in Bernie's drawers to get money to escape, because he thinks these two girls are going to kill each other and they're going to get separated.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to think that there are honourable intentions behind everything he's doing, and he does want to keep his family together.
Doesn't explain the hair.
Huh?
Doesn't explain the hair.
What hair?
No, nobody has a hairstyle like that with honourable intentions.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Just being mean. It's okay to make fun of children's hair. If you don't have stupid hair when you're an adolescent, then you've done something wrong with your life.
I didn't have stupid hair. I've had the same haircut all my life.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks, darling. Mean. Right, anyway, Sally says that we should decide in the morning whether or not to tell the social services. And I don't think we get any further with Sally and Tim this week. That was Monday.
Yeah, see, Wednesday was when he goes to steal, and then Bernie's like, don't worry, everything will be fine. And then he kind of has a go at Aadi. Yeah.
I kind of hope that Sally and Tim have done something and reported it in between then and the next time we see her. Otherwise, she's leaving it a bit late. And the social service would be like, so you found this 3 weeks ago? Why haven't you told us yet? Well, just wasn't in for filming those days.
Yes, if you don't know how this show works.
Do you think there's supposed to be some kind of mystery about the provenance of these bruises? Like, is it actually Joni that's doing it, or was it? I didn't look historic enough for it to have been Mick or Lou that caused it.
No, I think it's the girls doing it to each other, and I think that there might be a story where they accuse Sally and Tim of doing it to them.
That is a very standard soap story, isn't it? Yeah.
I think.
Do you remember when Jade painted those bruises on Hope to make out that Fizz had done it?
The thing is, Corrie's a very pro foster child show. It's like the most I've ever seen, and fostering represented on any show ever. And even though it has been around for 65 years this year, it still has been a remarkable amount of it, which I think is laudable. But do you think that makes them think that they can take a few more kind of like, not liberties, but the darker side of it? Because they've been really positive. It's like been a positive experience with the ups and downs, but quite rewarding, and although challenging at times. Do you think that they feel like that big storied history of showing all kinds of fostering stories makes them not have to worry about showing only positive experiences?
This is still a generally positive experience, though, isn't it?
I think it'll all turn out fine in the end.
I think it'll turn out. I think it's going to turn out. I don't think that Brody's going to be able to get those girls abroad anywhere, is he?
I don't think that... No, I agree with you. I don't think that Corrie... And I'm not trying to be mean here. I don't think that they very often care too much about besmirching something, you know? I don't think they think to themselves, oh, we can't do that because it's going to show it in a bad light.
Don't know, really.
I don't think that... I think that they sometimes worry about it maybe and try to limit the impact.
I suppose they did, despite the positive messaging we got about the NHS from Burnley this week, we did have also the storyline with Dee earlier this year where they were neglectful and racist.
They were.
At the hospital.
But I think it would be really... the thing is about fostering and adoption and stuff is that very often the children are troubled and it's not always easy at all.
I'm just surprised how little of this story we're getting, because it feels like it's being very much drip fed to us over the past month. Like, Sally is, or should be, a main character, and it feels like there's the potential of a little gold mine of a story here, but they're not leaning into it at all. We're like getting snippets of them every couple of weeks or something.
I don't mind that.
But go on.
I think it's good how much they're showing Sally and Tim having to do training, but I wish I knew what the training was.
I don't think I need to know this details.
I would find
I'm enjoying seeing that Sally and Tim are united in something and not just having a fallout or affairs or anything like that. They've got this little issue here and they have to work together as a married couple to try and solve it, which is lovely. So that Wednesday is basically just what we've kind of said it already. The whole thing with Brody trying to rummage around Bernie's drawers. But then we also have been seeing a little bit more of the attempted rebuilding of bridges between Kit and Brody. Because Monday's episode we had Kit wondering. No, they go to the football together, don't they? Which we don't obviously see, and then speed dial, and then Friday is all about the get together that they have in speed dial with Sarah. Maybe that's why Brody was so narked off in today's episode. Like, he went to speed dial the other day, now he's back there again, he's just a bit sick of curry.
Why did he ask for menus? He made a big fuss about they didn't have menus. Don't you have this memorised?
Yeah, everybody goes there at least once a week, surely. They don't need to have menus given to them, you're right.
I don't think this is out of pocket to say. I think quite a lot of places that sell curries and Indian and Pakistani food have very similar items on the menu.
Well,
I think
maybe
you could
they
just say,
fancied a change.
I think you could just say, can I have potato, can I have bombay aloo, and can I have a chicken tikka, and you'd be all right.
Yeah, we did end up with... What did we have when we went out to the Indian the other day? Butter chicken, which is definitely standard for me, and...
lamb Rogan Josh.
Yeah, that's a bit different. We don't often have that.
And I had a
little vegetable thali plate, Friday's episode, I can't say it was particularly thrilling for me, but it was basically Sarah Lou sticking her neb in and saying, let me come along to your little meeting with Brody and we'll try and all make up together. But Brody's not having any of it. He's like, you're just some silly old bird who's dating Kit. I don't need your advice, thank you very much.
Why are you sticking your oar
He's refusing to call him dad.
She said you're some silly bird who's doing him, which I thought was...
doing him.
It's because he's been watching Coronation Street when he's not in
getting saucy ideas.
Yeah, it's a bad influence on the children.
He's just being grumpy and gruff, and Kit, he's like, is there supposed to be some juxtaposition here of Kit has only just this week called Bernie mum, and he's saying, well, if I'm doing it, why isn't Brody calling me dad?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
I'm
in
totally
no way
over.
bothered. Like, I couldn't care any less about the relationship between Kit and Brody and whether or not they're getting on.
Or I don't even care whether Shoni, Brony and Moni are all beating each other up behind the bike sheds, to be honest with you.
I don't mind too much about that, but literally Kit and Brody, I don't give two hoots about.
I like Kit. I don't like. I refuse to like Brody. And you know what?
He was
mad
mean to Dylan in
because
prison.
they're gonna make me like him. I know they are.
Yeah, it's
and
inevitable.
What's making me mad because I know that it's inevitable.
Yeah, sorry. He's gonna have his redemption arc, isn't he? Although he's still got this threat hanging over Aadi, hasn't he? So there's a possibility that he's going to slip back into the realms of villainy by beating Aadi to a pulp. But if they want to redeem him, they'll redeem him, won't they?
Tim doesn't know what courgette is.
No, he does know what a courgette is. He just didn't used to know what a courgette is. I wrote in the notes.
He also couldn't read.
Right.
So you can't hold too much against
What else?
him.
Let's just rattle through the rest.
The only way I know what a courgette is through my great literary experiences.
It's a fancy cucumber, isn't it? So what's been going on with Swala this week?
Is this the... Oh, I thought it was the last story.
No.
Okay, right. Ladies packing up.
Come.
Ryan's like, I've got a weird flatmate who's got Victorian dolls, and they're like, can't have that, move in with us. And it's Lisa's idea, and Carla's so chuffed that she realises how important Ryan is.
I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but is Ryan's flatmate that serial killer from the first episode of the new series of Wednesday?
You've spoiled it now. I'm not watching it.
It's in the pre-credit sequence. It's fine. But
so you're saying that Ryan is flatmate with
the serial scalper.
Joel Harvey Osment or whatever.
Oh yeah, it was. It was Sixth Sense boy, wasn't it? Growing up.
Yeah.
It was all very lovely. I'm sure that there are other places that will read a lot into these scenes, and they were very nice. They were sweet. They're kind of all just draped over each other. They've moved into 6.
They're moving. They've got boxes in the orangery, and they're all happy about it.
Yes, that is that story from our point of view. It was nice. It was nice.
I cannot wait to see how they're going to decorate the place. But like I said before, I am starting to think that everywhere is very samey now because it's all so done up and show homey. You know that Carla and Lisa are not going to have a chest like a cabinet that's just got crap in it on the top of it. You know that, right? Yeah. They're going to have a pristine, like, here's a beautiful photograph of us that's clearly from Inside Soap magazine, and here is a vase of pampas grass, and here is a tasteful white porcelain ornament, and that's it. They won't have like crap everywhere like in Gemma and Chesney's house or Fizz and Tyrone's house. Everyone's being gentrified, although I do think that those characters would have the nicest house.
I just wonder how much Carla feels the need to reuse her copious amounts of heron accessories, because she's like got a screen, she's got pillows, she's got all sorts.
Loves heron chic.
Yeah, I know. Maybe they'll put them in the orangery or something and have something new in the front.
Yeah, like what herons are like watery birds, and an orangery is kind of watery, isn't it? Because it's in the garden and it rains on it.
Quite watery. I think that there was a massive, massive missed opportunity, huge, for not in an episode that included Sally, which this episode did, not having her getting all excited about Mrs. Connor moving in next door.
If we don't get that, I'm going to be furious.
I'm sure we'll get something at some point. We've got to, because it seems like the most obvious setup for some great comedy scenes. But why Sally on Monday was more interested in these bruises on the girl's arm than the fact that the divine Mrs. Connor is moving in next door, I do not know.
Why she's too busy slicing courgettes?
She should have just been like looking through the curtain. I think it's the fact that Sally was in the episode.
Yeah.
She was in the episode. They could have had her doing some things.
Even if they'd had a line where she said something like, "Oh, do you think we should make some more of this, Tim, and take it round to the next door neighbours?"
Exactly.
And he would have been like, "I genuinely do not think that they would want to eat this."
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity there.
Just one line.
And now they've been moved in for a week. It almost feels like you've missed the chance. But I don't know. Maybe it's going to come this week.
It will.
So Steve and Tracy had a couple of scenes this week, and it was
Friday, was it?
Yeah, it was just a bit of spinning the wheels, wasn't it? It is re-establishing the fact that Tracy is not at all happy with the amount that Cassie and Steve are all over each other. Mm-hmm. I think it's quite funny. They're comedy sexy, aren't they? Like Todd and Theo or Randy sexy, and Abi and Carl. It's like, I don't need that. But Steve and Cassie just joyously slobbering all over each other.
They're a kiss me quick hat.
Yeah, they're Blackpool in love, aren't they? And I'm all for this.
That sounds like the most snobby way of describing anyone's relationship. I can imagine a dad in a golf jumper telling his wife that their son's not serious about his floozy because they're only Blackpool in love.
You're the one that said to kiss me quick. Basically, Tracy seems to have a massive problem with these two together. And I don't know whether she's getting a little bit of pang of regret that she ended up bonking Tommy O last year. Or is it just the fact that Steve is there flaunting it in her face? Because really, I think he's kind of overstayed his welcome at number one at the moment, don't you think?
I also do think that for plot purposes, this makes sense. The same way a lot of the stuff this week only makes sense from plot purposes and not from human interaction purposes. But everybody's being really harsh on Tracy for getting mad at Cassie trying to kill her dad.
Yeah,
they were like, stop being inconvenient and bringing up things that happened.
I know, in real life, it's terrible. And
you would have a grudge against this woman.
Yeah.
You wouldn't and there was even a
bit...
bit...
I'm just as bad because I found the story quite
hilarious.
endearing.
It was even... They even made a joke about it at the beginning of today's episode on Friday where Cassie's like, hey, do you want a cup of tea? And Ken's like, you not get me with that again? Remember when you tried to kill me with a cup of tea?
That was quite funny, but it did make me think, so has Cassie literally not made a cup of tea for him since January?
Yeah.
When this all came out. Was it January, February time?
What's she been doing all this time?
She's been clearly been at number one for quite a bit of that time since she's been dating Steve.
If I was Ken, I'd be on the bottled water.
Yeah, nothing else. Anyway, they decide to have a family meal together, which is usually kind of spells, this is going to be a great
Trouble
old Corrie
strife.
moment, but they didn't end up doing very much with it, did they? Tracy just ends up using it as an opportunity to propose an amicable divorce, i.e. she doesn't want to take half of Streetcars off of Steve, and they're just
as long as he won't take half of Preston's off her.
Yeah. And again, that struck me a little bit of, so all of that kind of hoo-ha that they had about this the last time the story was on is all for nothing.
No.
I hate it when characters fall out and then the next time we see them, they're just made up.
I know what you mean, because I feel the same way, but I'm with Amy here. Amy suspects that Tracy's up to something.
Yeah, I don't know.
She knows something. Like, maybe she's going to sell Preston's or something's happening with her business that means that she doesn't want to share it with Steve.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or is this a way of just getting Steve out of the house? I can't remember what the legalities are. But Tracy, I suppose, could say, well, this was the house I grew up in. This has nothing to do with you, Steve. Off you go, matey.
I don't think it's
I hear
down to
Dee Dee's
her.
flat's free.
I think that Ken quite likes Steve and Cassie there.
Even though he won't have Cassie make him a cup of tea.
No, I don't think you can really get on with somebody you can't trust a cup of tea out of, but maybe that's just me being too English.
Finally, Gemma, what's Jenny been up
I get
to
to talk
this
about
week?
Jenny.
Well, only a little bit, because it was the
dare you
beginnings of
pour
a story this week, wasn't it?
Plumbing water all over my excitement. Because on Friday, Jenny's having a bit of trouble with her damp O-ring or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's her O-ring.
Leaky O-ring. So George is a bit down in the dumps because it's Julie's birthday and so is Brian. So they all decide to go to the pub and toast to her. But as they're talking about how George should get back on the wagon again or whatever you do with dating people, Jenny rushes in saying, oh my God, there's a burst pipe in the cabin. And George says, don't worry, I know how to do plumbing because I'm an embalmer and it's all just pipes.
Do you think it's time for George to move on? Like everyone was saying, it's been 2 months since Eileen's left, get over it.
It's like, no, really, no. There's 2 months.
I know. Don't you
want to have time to let your pants dry?
They've been seeing each other for a
Long
good number
time.
of years, in Corrie terms at least.
You're not getting any younger, George.
Maybe,
get
yeah, that's true.
Get your lady. Get a lady. So, George sorts it all out, and Jenny's really flirting with him. She's like, oh, you look like Mr. Darcy. Oh, you fix my leaky O-ring. Oh, and it's very full on.
It was, and this also came across to me as a little bit for plot reasons. Jenny doesn't strike me as the sort of person
Jenny
that
wouldn't touch George with a barge pole.
No.
Not to be mean to George, but he is not her type at all. She goes for, like, slim, rich men. And George is not flamboyant. Like, I think he's loaded, but he doesn't flash it, does he? Jenny likes a flashy, rich guy.
Yeah.
And she seems to go, apart from when she went out with Johnny, she goes for younger guys, because she was going out with old bin man last time we saw her.
Yeah, it felt a little bit too accelerated, doesn't it? Like there was none of this slow build up and realising that maybe she's got feelings for him. It was the first time that we've seen her in weeks, or the first. Actually, you know, we've glossed over the fact that this is the first time that we've seen the cabin for over a year.
Yeah.
Straight away, she's there going, "Oh, getting a bit hot under the collar for George." It didn't quite work for me.
Well, she buys him a drink later. She's still flirting around, and Glenda tells George that she set him up on a dating site, and he's already got 4 women interested, and Jenny is not happy about that.
No. If Jenny's ready to get back on the dating game, fair play to her. I think that I'd quite like to see her doing a bit of a tour of the street. I'd quite like Jenny to get back with Kevin, possibly. Because things are... I thought I really liked 10 years ago the dynamic of Jenny and Kevin together, and, you know, one dangled baby later and suddenly they're split up. I think that what has gone onto the bridge since then, I wouldn't mind seeing them having a bit of a heart-to-heart together at least.
Wow.
Or maybe she could just try it on with Dirk, you know?
Well... strong silent type.
Exactly. He's not going to complain when she wants to.
No.
Dirk, I just want to. Do you mind if I buy these new shoes?
I bet you what
Nothing
he does
from
though.
Dirk.
I bet he writes it all down on his clipboard, all of his grudges and complaints.
Anyway, what do you think about Jenny and George?
Unlikely.
Do you think there's potential? Yeah, unlikely. Do you think that it's going to be pursued?
It feels to me as though they just looked at a board of characters and went,
Who's single at the moment?
The same age and single?
Roughly
the same age. Yeah. Who's in a 10-year either way?
Mm. Do you think that they're going to go down a dating route, or could it be the catalyst for a different story where she realised she's in the dating game? I don't know. It just doesn't feel...
She's already done the dating thing and ended up with a psychopath who tried to steal her money.
They're gonna.
She brings that up.
I'm not 100% adverse to the idea, but they're gonna have to do an awful lot of work to convince me that this is a couple who could be right for each other.
Yeah, but they have to do that a lot with most of the couples they make up these days.
They're still going there with Ronnie and Debbie, I tell you. Even though there was the proposal this week, in the back of my head I was thinking, and I knew it was very sweet. I was still saying, they just don't seem like a right fit for me.
I'd marry Debbie.
Well, she got down on one knee and proposed that you get wed in a Scottish castle.
Oh yeah.
You'll be
I'll go to Hogwarts with you, Debbie.
Right, what are you scoring this week's episodes, my darling?
Oh,
Sarah doesn't say that anymore.
I know, she doesn't. We've scared her out of it. I feel bad. Do you feel like you crushed her spirit?
That was so much in the script, and it was made such fun of on social media.
Yeah.
I think the script writers have said, fine, let's just not have her say it anymore. Then.
In her defence, she definitely got that off Audrey, because Audrey says that, and I didn't really realise until Sarah stopped saying it and Audrey carried on.
I am going to give this week's... What do we have? Mondays was great. It was really, really fab with the stag parties. Then we had the wedding that was a bit spotty. Today's was fine, but I don't think...
I think the wedding was better than we're giving it credit for.
Well, everyone else seems to say so. I'm imagining that we're going to get higher scores for this week from the listeners.
I think a lot of 4s probably.
Yeah, and I think that 3 lubricious nurses out of 5 for me, which is what Gemma was dressed up as on Monday, is what I'm going to settle on. I'd like it to have been higher because I was really feeling positive about the wedding, and maybe it was just me getting my hopes up too far, which has spoiled it a bit for me.
I'm going to give this week 3.5 Sikh weddings.
Okay.
Who's your character of the week?
I don't know whether I can still count Auntie Rani for this week, or whether that would be a bit of a fake one.
No, you can.
I really, really did love seeing her.
Dev, Bernie, not Abi or Carl,
no,
or Kevin. Debbie.
Maybe it's Aadi, you know?
Oh, yeah, Aadi.
I think I might go for Aadi.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I got such a soft spot for him. I felt so bad for him on Friday. He's having an hard time with a double A.
I know. Well, I'm proud of him, even if he's rubbish. Well, because...
Fessing up?
No, just I'm proud of him in general. I think he's a good, decent boy.
I'm proud of him, and I'm not just saying it to make myself look good.
Yeah, exactly.
So there we go. Aadi and 3.5s all round for us. Super.